the players are really finding ways to make things interesting for us.
So take on G5?
Yeah, it's still a draw, but it's extremely. I don't like that, Robert.
Yep. Now there are 2 pawns going.
Uh-oh. Wait, what? Why was this necessary?
I'm so confused. Go King E4. Wait, now who's better and why? Wait,
White is winning. Bishop C1. Bishop C1.
Oh, he lost the time. No way. He went from winning to losing on time.
Oh, Bishop C1 is just winning, I think.
Oh my gosh. It might not even be winning, but it's definitely not losing.
And the Speed Chess Championship keeps rolling right along. Today we have the Junior Speed Chess Championship. It's our second to last matchup of the round of 16, and we have 2 Russian superstars going at it. Robert, it's our closest matchup on paper. I think we were crunching some numbers before the game, practicing our subtraction. And I think in terms of live rating, the players are separated by just about 5 points. So I'm pumped. Before we jump into any of the games, thank you all for joining us. Let's go through some of the logistics of the Speed Chess Championship, in particular as it comes to the juniors. So taking a look at the bracket, we see that 2 of the matchups have already concluded. This one, you can head on over to the right side of the bracket where we have Andrey Esipenko today going up against Alexey Sarana with, 2 matchups have concluded, not 3. And then we have 2 more in the round of 16. There's been so many matchups that some are getting lost in my memory, I would say. So if we go to today's matchup in particular, I don't know, Robert, do you agree with me? I've been watching so much chess that I don't even know how much chess has been played.
Yeah, I mean, Levy, I'm completely with you. We're finally in the second half of the bracket. And with this match in particular, we see the predictions, right? That Sarana is the favorite with his 2666 FIDE blitz rating, whereas Esipenko is 2571. And it's about 70-30 chances in Sarana's favor. And I have to agree with that, but mainly because Esipenko just played a 5-6 hour game against Kovalyov today, and he won that game with the black pieces. So you were saying, Levy, that he might be pumped up. I think he must be exhausted.
Yeah, honestly. I did mention before the game that, or I suppose before the match, that you feel much more pumped about playing in a 3.5 hour blitz and bullet championship online in front of thousands of people if you win your classical game prior. I suppose that's just an opinion of mine. Let's turn to the format. We see everything for the most part is relatively speaking the same throughout these chess championships, speed chess championships. You get an hour and a half, 5-1 blitz, 60 minutes of 3-1, and 30 minutes of 1+1. You guys are pretty familiar with the whole thing as it's been going on. There's 16 players, knockout system, and maybe one thing that you're not super familiar with is at that bottom point is if the match is still tied after the mini match tiebreaker, meaning the 4 games that they play 1+1 at the end, then we have an Armageddon. Norway Chess has an Armageddon. We have an Armageddon. Black gets draw odds, and that's how the players will advance. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, speaking of Norway, if you know anything about the Altibox Norway Chess Festival, you see that these games in Armageddon are just absolutely crazy, right? It's a free-for-all. They're bloodbaths. People are blundering all over the place. So I think one of these players would like to win before it gets to that stage.
Absolutely. All right. Everybody's favorite topic. Let's go to prizes. Big money. There's a lot of money at stake in the Junior Speed Chess Championship. That's total of 20 grand. Each match head-to-head in the round of 16 is $800. It's 400 to the winner, 400 split by the win percentage. Hey, a little bit of cash on the side to play one of these things can never hurt. And let's look at the schedule. Let's look at the schedule going forward. It's a beautiful calendar put together by Chess.com staff. We've got big things coming up. We've got Sarana Esipenko. On the 14th, we have Jeffrey Xiong versus Anton Smirnov. And then we have the conclusion, Farham Maghsoodlu versus Luca Moroni, and Benjamin Gudura versus Alwonder Liang, who I just recently lost to in Chicago Open. So I'm cheering for him in that one.
Yeah, he's a little good. And, while we're on the topic of big things, thank you so much to Chess Bay for gifting 20 subs there to the Twitch community. So, she's always doing some great community work for the chess community. So always got a shout out to the one and only Chess Bay.
Let's take one final breath of air before we all jump in, and let's do something for our chess community, Robert. let's get these games going. Players have been ready for a while. We've been ready for a while. Why don't we get the ball rolling? It's time to start 90 minutes of 5+1. And well, I can't wait. I can't wait. I mean, a matchup that's close on paper is we'll see how it plays out. Everybody obviously saw that match between Sam Sevian and Nihal Sarin was very even to start, and then kind of one side pulled away. So here we go. Chat. Yep. Let me see how excited you guys are.
Levy, I'm super pumped for this matchup because I really do think that these are the two of the closest competitors. You mentioned by rating that they probably are the two closest competitors in the first round matchups, but I also just think that their styles are so fascinating because Esipenko is super young, and it's not like Sarana is this old man. I mean, he's only 2 years older than Esipenko, but we have not seen the full growth of Esipenko. And I think he's off to a great start in Poikowski. He won his game today to go back to an even score, and he's gaining a bunch of rating there. So in this particular game, we see that Mishanik, that is Mr. Sarana, has great experience on Chess.com, the Pro Chess League, and Esipenko, I think he said he wants to join a Pro Chess League team, so hopefully he can make a good impression in this match.
Yeah, one of the things that he mentioned, those of you that don't know, the players obviously submit pre-match interviews and talk about their childhood, chess experiences, their goals for career, etc. Andrey Esipenko did mention that he is curious to try out the Pro Chess League, and I will say that the New York Marshals took note of that. That's all I'll say on that front.
I see a little bit of recruiting going on right there.
I don't know if that's it. Am I going to get fined for tampering?
This isn't the NBA, and you're just here so you won't get fined, so you'll be all right.
Exactly.
But Levy, about these positions here, right? Black has this isolated pawn on d5, but anytime you have an isolated pawn, and may not have an isolated pawn for too long, but what I was going to say was anytime you have an isolated pawn, you have the adjacent files open for your rooks. So the E file and the C file. Now, d4 may have been a little premature because queen c2 comes with a tempo, and then maybe I can toss a rook on d1 really quickly and pin and probably even win that pawn. So I'm not sure what you think, Levy, but I think d4 might have been a moment too premature.
Yeah, this whole kind of this whole opening with bishop f4, queen's gambit declined. There is kind of like a big branch of main lines where white takes on c5. When white plays like this, trading the knights, taking c5, and going for the isolated pawn structure, it's essentially to claim that you'll have a small positional advantage forever and ever. Esipenko kind of immediately jumps in with d4, but as you mentioned, queen c2 does pose some problems. It was played pretty much instantly, and now we have our first, I would say, long thought of the entire match. So some problems definitely to be answered for black. What do you do? What do you do here? Bishop b6, but then, as you said, rook d1.
Yeah, because bishop b6 feels like the necessary move, considering that otherwise this pawn d4 will probably just be lost. Moving bishop e7 is met by the same response, right? Rook a to d1. So bishop b6 at least keeps this pawn protected, but after bishop b6, maybe I'll even consider moves like knight to g5. I'm not sure right away that's the right decision, but knight g5 forces g6, after which I can play moves like bishop to c4, rook to d1 in some order, and there's going to be a lot of pressure on that black king side.
I'm doing my best Hikaru impression, trying to draw as many arrows as possible. So, yeah. Wow, this is quite a deep thought. I mean, obviously, queen c2 is posing some real issues. Can you play a move like, I'm trying to think. Can you go for bishop d6, for example?
Yeah, I guess you
tactically defend the d4 pawn.
But what if I just take on d6 first, and then after queen takes, then play?
Yeah, you're still going for rook d1, I guess. I was trying to develop quickly. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's this line because I've done some prep in these lines in the past, but I do think it's these bishop f4 lines that are super tricky because of these ideas of knight to g5, in addition to have previously threatened you with your isolated pawn. So it's not a good sign that Esipenko is so deep in thought right here. And it was queen to b6. And look at this immediate response by Sarana.
Rook c1. Okay, so rook a c1 is not a move you have to spend too much time on. But now you need to come up with a concrete solution. If you play e d4, obviously knight d4 is always coming with tempo. The first thing that you would calculate, I would assume, is trading everything and seeing what you can accomplish with the queen on d4. Mm-hmm. Nothing obvious yet, but with playing something like queen c7 maybe for white. But b2 is hanging, right? So okay, he's going for it though.
Wow, he went for this way. I thought he was going to play rook d1 first, but I just want to give a shout out to the over 4,000 people here tuning in to the Junior Speed Chess Championship opening round. We have two fantastic players in Alexey Sarana here with the white pieces and Andrey Esipenko with the black pieces. So shout out to the entire audience here, both on chess.com/TV and on Twitch.
Yeah, guys, hit that follow button. I think my favorite part of doing these shows is always listening to some folks in the chat that say like, oh, I had no idea that this is on Twitch. Well, here it is. And this is arguably one of the most exciting shows. It's fast paced. There's a lot of action, a lot of mistakes. I mean, that's not an insult to the players, just what happens that, when you lower the time. I've actually have a question in terms of training in regard to the time control that you're preparing for the players, which I'll save. But speaking of saving, you might be saving this position if you get active with a move like bishop f5, because white's bishops were lined up perfectly to target the queenside pawns, but you're offsetting that with some moves with tempo. Look at queen c5, maintaining eyes on a7 and b7. It almost feels like a Catalan, but it wasn't. Light square bishop on f3.
Yeah, no, these bishops are just kind of preying on the queen side. I don't know why prying. There's nothing to pry open. But b6 is a timely response because after queen to a3, which is the only way to keep the a7 pawn under threat, bishop b2 is a nasty move to meet. So he went queen to b5, but now after rook a to d8, I think black actually has gotten out of this unscathed.
No, you can't. I was thinking something with bishop g5 potentially to end up taking on e5, but bishop g5 I think runs into bishop h2. If I'm not mistaken. Yeah. And yeah, so you simply blunder there. In terms of player psychology, it seems the position has more or less, I don't want to say fizzled out, that's a strong way of putting it, but the pressure seems to have alleviated just for a moment. Robert, how much do you think nowadays these young players are preparing in terms of 100% split on classical, rapid, and blitz? Do you think it's different than it was, let's say, 10 years ago, and how different?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I think that younger players, they grow up on the internet these days, so they prefer to play bullet chess and blitz chess. And of course, these two in particular are such highly rated classical players, and they're incredibly strong. So they're focusing most of their attention there. There aren't that many FIDE blitz tournaments or FIDE rapid tournaments. So I would say the majority of their time is spent focusing on classical chess. But I think playing rapid and blitz is actually useful towards getting better at classical. I know the traditional mantra is, no, you don't play blitz, it's bad for your chess. But I'm not someone who agrees with that. I think that is actually very good for your chess in many ways. And these players haven't been hurt by all their online play. Yeah,
I don't think so either. But now it's down to a minute, and you got to remember that the bonus time is only 1 second. So it's not necessarily that losing on time is the biggest concern, but getting into a situation where you've got 10 seconds on the clock and you're under pressure, that's a terrifying feeling, because every move you make basically from that point forward needs to be with the utmost accuracy. So it's good, I think, that Andrey has cut the deficit of time. It's down to 40 seconds. He's making white prove his positional superiority, and he has to retreat. Ooh, that's big, I think, going back to it.
I honestly thought he was going to play rook takes e5, because that would have forced a compromise from Esipenko there. Took on e5, either you take back on e5 with the pawn, which gives you an isolated pawn, or you take the bishop on g5 immediately, which gives you double pawns. And either way, there is a concession that black had to make. Yeah, and now I don't know. I mean, Esipenko looks to have figured things out more or less. Still very unpleasant. I would still like to prefer white, but one more thing we should mention, because it's about to get with both players under a minute on the clock. I remember you talked about this during Pro Chess League, handling the fact that you've had a great position and now it's just equal, or maybe you're worse. And how do you shift psychologically, especially in a blitz game, right? In classical, it's one thing, but in blitz, like, how do you slow down? How do you switch your mindset entirely? We'll see. We'll see how the players can do it. And it's really tough when you have less than a minute left for both players. And right now, a move like bishop e4 for black, trying to open up the f file and create concrete threats in the f2 square. There it is, bishop e4. And so you're asking white all the important questions. Are you just going to continue making natural moves like bishop takes e4, pawn takes e4, and play bishop e3, which protects f2? Or do you think that opens up your king side too much and play a safe move, maybe like queen to e7 here? Because you asked the question, like, which is a very good one. White was better earlier. You misplayed, so now you've lost most of your advantage. So maybe it's time to just liquidate and say, you know what, black has played well. Maybe I could still fight for a little something in the ensuing endgame, but at least then I don't have any kingside problems to worry about.
I think that this investment of time by Alexey, right, he's only up about 10, 15 seconds now, he's looking for tactical solutions. That must be it. He must still believe that he has some way to develop an initiative. He ends up trading the rooks. Oh, this seems like a nice move, bishop f4. Just, well, now you're threatening to win bishop e3 and queen f2, queen f1, right? It's puzzle rush. So, yeah, like, what do you do here? Like, the queen on a3 suddenly isn't even so happy.
Right, because queen b2 is a necessary move. You took on f4, queen takes f4, then f2 was hanging, the threat of pawn to e3 was really dangerous for white, and now at least you both have these isolated pawns on the e-file, but now a move like queen d4 just liquidates right away. And look at Sarana, he's continuing to play here. Maybe he's still has faint hopes of winning this game, but I mean, black can play anything here. Move like h5 to give your king left, rook d8, perfectly good move, taking control over the open D file. Can go queen D2 at the right moment to make progress, but you always have to watch out. Can white counter if you make a move like queen D2, right? Because that can trade queens, like rook C8 check, rook C7 check after, and win your A7 pawn. So H6.
Yes, exactly. Well, this is nice. So the idea is to take, pressure E4, and then have the more active rook. It's basically the first rook to attack. So now there you go. He's not playing defense. This is a very nice lesson for the chat. Playing rook d2 instead of rook e5, not resorting himself to passive defense. And all right, well, queenside passer for black is in the future, right? With b5 maybe.
Yeah, that's gives black the advantage. But in a time scramble, anything can happen here. Both sides under 20 seconds left, and it should be a draw with best play. But we know best play does not happen. There's your b5 break, Levy. I mean, in time trouble, this could definitely go black's way, in my opinion.
Right, now you fix the pawns. Okay, that's a very quick calculation that the king and pawn endgame is winning because of the a pawn. Rook c8 is trying to sneak around. You know, Andrey is having some connection issues. We see the bars are going up and down, and we've seen this before. We've seen flags, disconnects, and it's part of the game. Rook c7 now. Yep. Or rook g4, rook g7. Yeah, rook g5 as well.
I like rook g5 a bit less because now you're quite passively sitting there. You can never go pawn to a4 because rook 8 will go win that pawn. And now e5 is a huge threat. Play e5, king's coming to f5. So play rook b1. Just give up the good move, giving up the a pawn and putting your rook behind the king. But this might already be losing, actually. So I was saying that black might win this game. It turns out that white is the one who's heavily favored here. If the rook takes a5, snag the pawn. Oh! He's about to flag.
Yes, and he's about to lose on time. Yeah, but with the king getting in, it should just be over, right? I mean, rook e8, he's going to play, and now...
Oh, he missed e7, but it doesn't matter. E7.
Oh, e7 was a nice move. Yeah, now just e7, rook d8, and it's over.
Yep.
There's no stalemate tricks in the first game of the match. Goes to Alexey Sarana. Very nice one. Yeah, that was topsy-turvy. Wow. I mean, I shouldn't say it was topsy-turvy, but the belief in his advantage was topsy-turvy. He had that from start to finish. I wonder, what the Chess.com little blurb after the game would be? I wonder what it would be. Who had the advantage from start to finish?
It was a pretty level battle, but in the end, your opponent made the last mistake or something like that.
Yes, something along those lines. Yeah, saved by the clock. All right. So we see another Queen's Gambit decline. Very classical choice by both players. This one's slightly different as black plays the early knight d7. Now I think dc4. Yeah, dc4 is a tricky line, and knight d5 here in a lot of... Okay, but white just simply goes for this, which is perfectly reasonable. Let's jump into some of the player cards that we have. So starting with Andrey Esipenko. We know that both players come from Russia, and I actually really, really like these little blurbs that we have on the players. So, Andrey Esipenko is a big fan of soccer. He thinks that his strength in chess is strategic play. We actually see a very, very strategic position here from him as he's gotten a closed center, a closed structure, and he's got knights versus bishops. Very, very interesting choice. But he thinks that his weakness is in the endgame. So didn't we just see that, Robert?
Well, he's being self-critical in the sense of, with all the time in the world, he needs to work on his end games. We did just see him blunder away an easily holdable end game. So yes, I guess the answer is yes, the short answer.
Yes. But this is something you build with experience. Obviously, I really think that practical endgames are just something that you develop over the course of time. That's just my 2 cents, and Chad can agree or disagree. But it is what it is. And for Sarana, he actually thinks that his strength is tactics and his weakness is defense. So I feel like that's me right there.
You're the same player. This is you playing this match right now and commentating.
Basically, I'm world's most interesting chess player. Yes.
Yep. And I see there's mention that both these players represent the world team at the Match of the Millennials, and they crushed Team USA. That is correct. They were teammates beating up on the young Americans. So quite a talented duo, these two are.
Yeah. Now the first thought on the other side, as Sarana comes through from the opening and goes, wait a second, I might not like my position so much. Oh man, look at this bishop. Is he going to E8 to play F6? Is that what we're about to see?
He actually might be doing that. And right now, those knights look so promising. Knight E4 is the move that I would play pretty much instantly. I like Esipenko's time advantage with the white pieces. I like his spatial advantage. And I have no concrete plan for black, because if you do try for this future bishop E8, F6 maneuver, then your E6 pawn does feel quite a bit vulnerable. So Queen D5, of course, is a natural response. And look at Esipenko go. He understands that if this bishop takes the knight on C5, once white takes back with the pawn on C5, that knight will reroute itself from E5 straight to the D6 square. So here, rook C4, of course, is a good response. And one of the questions I always have, Levy, and I don't really know, okay, would not have done that, but he's going to try to put his rook on D5.
Yeah,
but here, rook takes D8, and rook A4, attack the A pawn. You have to go A6, and then go rook B4, and that ties your rook down to the defense of the B pawn. So I actually do not like this move at all, because, okay, that was not a good move either. What I was going to say, I hate to be too critical, but what I was going to say was, if I'm black, I'm immediately sacrificing a pawn to B5, so that when white takes en passant, I can go C5 and then get my bishop out. So I think that was a huge missed opportunity by black to try to get some activity, because in endgames like this, oftentimes it's not about the quantity of pawns, so the quality of the pieces. And you can offset the damage of being down a pawn with a really good bishop. Right now, that bishop on E8 is a bad pawn. The pawns aren't even allowed to go on the first rank.
Yeah, it gets 35% credit for being a pawn and 0% credit for being a bishop. But yeah, I mean, bringing the king. Yeah, essentially from the opening of this game, Alexey has said, okay, I'm passive, but I'm basically it's the flip narrative, as we had from the last game, where it's, I have a bad position, sure, but I'm gonna make you prove it. But here the difference is that you have a superstar knight. This knight is a rock star. The bishop on E8 has a future and a dream and sees a castle on a cloud, but I'm not so sure I don't know what you're going to do, because the knight is coming to D6 and B7 is just a problem. But Robert, 3 moves ago when we saw rook B4 from Andrey, and then A4, A5, and now knight C4 to go to D6, it's great strategic play. He's doing a very nice job.
And A6 here actually might just be the best move, because you can no longer go B6. There it is, because my knight's on C4 covering that square. And now I just take on B7. A takes B7. You can't take with the rook, because that's how we trade rooks on B7. Knight D6 check is a fork. Here it is.
Yeah, it's just winning. And the knight comes to D6 and you can't move. I think he might have just missed that for a moment. If coming back from this is probably just impossible. You can't move anything, and then you're permanently tied down. The knight can hunt from A5 even to pressure C6. Not good. Wow. Talk about trading punches in the opening 2 rounds.
Actually, Levi, I was about to ask you that, because you asked me the psychology of in-game psychology of when you go from a better position and then all of a sudden your advantage is slipping away. What do? How do you, what do you make of this? When you're down 1-0 but you play a great second game, do you just, keep that momentum going and try to play more active chess and try to get another win? Or what would you recommend Esipenko do? Okay, I don't want to jinx him. Hopefully he does, for his sake, win this game that he's winning. But what would your match strategy be if you were Esipenko and you're about to even up the score?
Well, I don't like to compare simple 3-minute matches that we might play recreationally on Chess.com to these guys playing 5-1, this is obviously a little bit more serious than that. But sometimes you develop that kind of flow as well. Your first game doesn't go so well, and you basically on the fly have to think, what did I do wrong? Was it the opening? Was it the middle game? Maybe I play something differently around move 6 or 7, or I start with an entirely different opening on the first move. We'll see what happens. He might have disliked the position that he got from that Queen's Gambit declined, so he won't go into that. Or he will, but he'll play something different. Or he'll just go into everything that happened and make a slight tweak in the middle game. Maybe he thinks that the middle game was slightly off. So I don't know. But a crushing win like this, do you repeat the opening again? I think absolutely. You make your opponent prove that you're not advantageous there.
No, I completely agree with you. And I think that we see the resignation and now the score is 1-1. But if I'm Esipenko, I realized the first game that I lost, I actually was holding on pretty well. I just made a mistake in time trouble. And that second game, I just outplayed him. So I think there is a real legitimate confidence boost there where you kind of can shrug off that initial loss as just chalk it up to bad time management, which is, I think, easier in many ways to get a handle over it than just like, well, that guy just kind of kicked my butt. Like he just outplayed me from start to finish. And I like this setup by Sarana here with the white pieces because you've given your opponent, this is theory still. So this double pawn is not just a mistake, it's theory. But I like going after the two bishops in this format with 5-minute and 1 second increment because you have time to work that two bishop advantage. And this line is slightly better for white generally speaking. But I think, look at him going right after both bishops now. He doesn't even give me time to finish my thoughts. Like, one bishop's not enough. Let me get both.
So funny.
I don't know if I believe in this, by the way. Knight g5 feels a little like, what if I just go bishop c4 here? Did you really get anything by playing knight g5?
Very adventurous from white. You go bishop c4? I mean, you can take on d6, play bishop f4, rook c1 maybe. Bishop c4 might be a bit. Yeah, I was going to say d5 is not the worst thing in the world. But yeah, but now f3, right? And always e4 is coming. I've told my students rated about 500, don't put your bishops in the center because they'll get trapped. These players are slightly better than that, but the concept is all the same, right? So I just want to quickly backtrack to what I mentioned. Like, obviously, Andrey started with the first same two moves, knight f66, and actually it was Alexey inviting a completely new position, right? So he plays knight c3, invites a Nimzo, and the players get a totally unique position as early as move 8. Totally different than what we had before. No Queen's Gambit declined, and now we have this. So we'll see. Completely different than what they've had the first two games. So.
And this is better for us, Levy, because we don't want to see the same opening over and over and over again. I know from all the commentary I've done in the past, seeing the Berlin played like 10 straight games in a match is not the most exhilarating for me, but I do like this decision by both players. They're just saying that we're just playing chess, and it's going to come down to who plays better, not whose opening preparation is better for the match. But maybe I'll be swallowing my words soon when they play some 20 moves in mainline theory, and one of them just kind of out-prepared the other.
Yeah, I was just about to say, like, it's only been 3 games. You never know, at some point something is going to happen, but it's going to regress to playing the exact same opening. What match comes out from memory when it comes to repeating the same thing? I think Hikaru and MVL played. Yeah,
that's the match I think of. Berlin was played nonstop.
I sometimes now, because I'm a D4 player myself, I sometimes now when I'm preparing for the Grunfeld, looking at different games, my entire online base screen is filled with Nakamura, Vachier Lagrave, 2018 Speeches Championship.
Yep.
It's so funny because I'm like, Hikaru tried everything under the sun to poke holes in it. So, anyway.
Yeah, no, that's good stuff to use because although these are speed chess games, the players take them very seriously, and these are some of the world's elite players. And well, speaking of poking holes, Levy, right here with the white pieces, he just finally decided to take on d6 and played his knight to f4. But who has worse holes here? I mean, I see some light square weaknesses on the queen side for white that always concern me in Nimzo structures, right? When you ever push your pawn from a2 to a3, and you've already pushed your c pawn to c4 on the second move of the game, then I'm like, and then a5 wants to just sit forever on a square like b3. Yep. So that does concern me about the future of this position. I think right now you can get away with taking on c4, knight takes c4, and then play pawn to b3, and follow up with rook to b1, and just like kick the knight out of the light squares. But by what he just did is now he gave a trade, bishop d3, bishop a5. I see, yep, there it is. And he said, okay, now the knight's not going to b3, but we have opposite colored bishops. And I know everyone thinks opposite colored bishops always just completely equal. It's going to be a draw. I actually prefer black's position here because that dark square bishop has no beautiful future that I can see. The bishop on a6 is actually extremely well placed, where it doesn't really take away important squares from white's pieces, but at least it's sitting on a useful diagonal and a longer diagonal. That move was
Robert. Yeah, I was just about to say, actually, I'm curious. You like black's position. I almost want to. I don't want to argue with the grandmaster. I'll probably be wrong, but I actually thought that white had some prospects with rook c1. It almost felt like b6 was inviting the bishop to just go to a square like b4, where you could develop some initiative against the d6 pawn. I guess the problem was that king d7 was just defending all the important squares. Yeah. But yeah, I'm not so sure about g5. It almost doesn't feel like you're playing where you're stronger, right? I mean, you've just made a weakness on f5. But
yeah, I also don't think I love this retreat knight e2. I thought d5 was what worried me for white, because now I'm going to put my knight on d5. And once my knight's on d5, good luck going to play e4. You might be able to make it work, but if you ever play e4 as white, then the f4 square is freed up. I can put a rook on the e-file. So black's next few moves are knight d5, king d7, and rook a to c8 or rook h to e8, or, well, maybe that could be the next two moves after that. But I just think that black has pretty easy play here, and that's why I don't like this retreat knight to e2. I thought d5, even if you get into opposite colored bishop position, you take on f6, and to me, that favored white. But here, I think black is, to me, slightly preferred.
Yeah, I agree. G5, the first thing I was looking at was d5. One thing I was just going to mention a few moves ago is that essentially this kind of middle game, like as early as move 17, right, when bishop c4 is played, essentially from here on out, this is good to summarize, I think. This is where the champions are made. I think this exact position, you can write the difference between 2500, 26, 27, 28, because in a blitz game in particular, the amount of decisions and branches that you have to go through psychologically and mentally and everything like that to kind of map out the rest of the game is huge, right? You thought bishop c4, b3, rook b1. This was kind of an idea. I also had an idea, like maybe just bring the king forward, then the bishop, then put something on c1. Just so many different things that you can do. And you just have to choose. And you just have to be quick about it and go with it and stick with it. And I find chess instinct a fascinating concept. Like, the strongest players choose correctly within 5 seconds so often, right? So, well, we'll see how this game plays out. But I think that position is essentially the starting point of this trajectory of rating.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. And, speaking of, well, I don't know if I'm speaking of rating, but I'm looking at, what's his face? Not Sarana, Esipenko's lag, because he only has 1 bar of internet connection. So I'm kind of concerned about that as time goes on, because when you start lagging and you get into time trouble, that's how you lose unnecessary games. Right? You just, you're doing fine right now with the black pieces. His position is very good. And then all of a sudden you have 5 seconds left because your lag is not letting you make moves.
Yeah, knight c5 now. We did mention this before when the knight came back to e2, that the knight was going to be perched very nicely on the d5 square. Bishop on d2. Yeah, white is... The thing is that if you look at white's position, white is really quite solid. It's not so clear where the poking and prodding is going to happen. I mean, you can't play a move like f4 because I'll play e4. I'll get a big center. Maybe in the future you can target it with moves like f5, g4. So, yeah, it looks like black has more or less figured out. But there we go, that f5 weakness coming into play. E4 is a little bit too crazy, right?
Yep.
What do you do? Then what do you do? What's the move here?
No, I like black's position now for sure. I just think that the bishop on the light squares is clearly far superior to the bishop on the dark squares. The bishop on d2 is doing nothing. Mm-hmm. And so I don't know... I don't really see a concrete plan for white. Black's pieces are in optimal squares, and that said, I don't really see a clear follow-up. Like, let's say white just takes on c8 and plays rook to c1. Is there really anything that black can do? Yes, black will not trade that rook and play rook to e8 to try to get the move pawn to f4 in at some point. But I think that what happens if white just shuffles back and forth between c1 and e1? I'm not positive.
Right. So I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Mr. GM. We also have Hikaru in the chat. We can have some deliberation. I remember on a Grankish stream, he and Jan Nepomniachtchi were both in the chat deliberating and analyzing. If the rooks just disappeared, there were no rooks.
Yeah.
Who has the advantage in this endgame? Is it white because of the better pawn structure?
Yes.
Right. That just at a very simple level, that d6 pawn is a liability long term, and also the fact that g5 h6 I'm looking at with the dark squared bishop for white could potentially be a problem. So then, is it in white's interest to swap the rooks?
I don't think you're able to now, because after rook takes c1, bishop c1, now rook c8. Well, this is just terrible for white. Wait, so clearly white just made a mistake. You were asking a great question, Levy, and all of a sudden the question became irrelevant because white kind of dilly-dallied for a move too long and allowed black to take over the c file.
Right, yeah. And f4 was going to be a problem. I did talk about this move hypothetically. h3 was just too slow. You couldn't play a move like h3.
Oh, this was a bad retreat, by the way, knight t7. Why not pawn to f4? I thought just moving forward was the way to go there.
Yeah, he's got to move forward here. This is like taking a timeout when you're up by 6 points in the NBA Finals. Hashtag last night.
This is actually still as good for black, but I thought f4 was better. I mean, here you can just you can still play f4 and then go knight g6 to h4. That was my idea, because I want to go f4, knight g6, knight h4, and then win your g2 pawn.
Right. Yep. Knight g6, h4 makes perfect sense. Is it coming? Oh,
yeah, I like that. You have to take. Oh, bishop e4 is coming. Oh, knight f6 check. Okay. So
okay, but see, Robert, my problem with this is you're making it a little bit messy. Maybe that's just how it feels with lower time on the clock. But what was the issue with knight g6, h4? Because now your king is the protector of the passed pawn. A little bold. Can you play a move like h? No, I was thinking h4 to go knight f4.
How did he not just go bishop e4? Like the pawn on g2 was just toasted. Bishop e4. Yeah. Oh, not bishop e4 because bishop f2. But he can take and this looks G4. I mean, you got to go for something. G3. It's a question. Oh, he's got 3 seconds. He goes for G4. Whoa! Just go king takes e5. Flag him and play king.
Oh, wait. Was there knight G3 there or no? Probably not, because the king is always coming to f4.
Yeah. So he's getting away with his king h4, and then he's going to end up scooping up this.
Wow.
Okay, so he's just going to go for the king side. King G3.
King G3 is just winning, right? Oh, okay. That's okay. Should be winning. But
yeah, the 2-on-0 on the king side is a winning strategy. King G3 here to take on.
That's also just very simple.
But all right, now it's
my best friend just won this in a classical game, except it was H pawn for black, so A and H, very easy win.
I'm reading Hikaru's chat in the Twitch stream here. He goes, Sarana plays much better against me online than Esipenko does, but I think Esipenko's got a good stylistic matchup here. It's a very interesting thing to hear. All right, so this end game, how do you win this easily? The answer is you can't, because rook g3 check, on b1, rook g3, but now does rook, where's his king going?
Yeah, he's got some problems. This was not it seemed like not the optimal way of approaching the position. Okay, so
king h4 and then king g3. He's finally going to get pushed up on.
Yep. G3, king h3. The thing is that you can play forever, but now he has
rook b2. Yep, and then a2, rook b1 check, a1 equals queen, and that's how you go up a rook in an endgame.
Yep, a2, rook b1, and GG yo.
GG yo is right.
All right, wow, win with black as the players get ready for game number 4. And there you go, from 0-1 to up 2-1. And, well, chat's been asking whether we coordinated this outfit. And I think it's time to tell them, Robert. Why are we both dressed in black?
I mean, it just kind of happened, right?
Yeah.
It was like we're in the same wavelength.
Yeah. Well, we were also celebrating Esipenko's win.
With the black pieces, it's true.
Yes, for those of you that don't know, he's playing in the Karpov Paikovsky, which is a super tournament in Russia held every year. This tournament has some of the biggest names in the world, maybe not from the top 10 because they're playing in Norway, but it's like a golden hour of chess right now, I would say, around planet Earth, as we have this tournament. The Asian Championships just started, Norway chess.
The women's candidates tournament, the
women's candidates, yes.
Championship.
It's enormous, right? We've got
too many things, honestly.
Honestly, yes. I like to wake up in the morning and have a coffee and look at some of the games, and some days I just need to arbitrarily choose. Personally, I like the big opens because sometimes you get beautiful, exciting chess. Like yesterday, Perugia versus Karthikeyan, I think was a crazy game. So that's very exciting.
Yep.
Another significant point, just to quickly make before we jump into this game, is that Esipenko's win today against Vladislav Kovalev from Belarus is pretty cool because Esipenko finished in second place in the Tata Steel Challengers earlier this year to Vladislav. Vladislav had 10 out of 13, crushing performance. And now Andrey finishes above him in today's game and takes some revenge. So it's nice. It's cool to see growth of an elevation of a chess player.
Absolutely. And honestly, for Vladislav, it seems like he's been struggling since that performance, unfortunately for him. He crossed 2,700 briefly and dropped back down. And Esipenko, still very young. He's trying to fight his way up towards 2,700, but it's tough. Obviously tough sledding there. And in this game here, there's a lot happening, Levy, with respect to the D5, C4, C5 area of the board. And, it's, when do you take on G7? Do you let Black take you on D4? If Black takes on D4, do I take with a pawn on D4 and then get another pawn there in the center and towards the queen side? Okay, well, he answered that question by taking on G7 and playing rook FD1, which is super logical. And if I am Black here, what am I going to do on this D file? Right, there's a clear pin. I can play queen C7 to just get out of the pin. And I guess he's going to take first and then play queen c7 with the idea being that once you take on d5, I'll just kind of triple team on that pawn and win it back.
I was about to suggest e6 and potentially going to f6 as well. Yeah, but then now d5 is coming in and you have a big decision to make because if you take with the bishop, then what are we getting?
I think I sack on c5 and play e4. At least that was my idea.
Oh, it's a tactical solution. Very nice. Rook c5. That looks convincing to me.
Yeah, I think e6 is a bad move. Here it comes. Here it comes.
Is there no tricks with queen e7 or queen d6? Nothing, right? Because the back row, the back rank is always covered.
Yeah, this is a bit of an issue. Rook takes there it is. Found by Esipenko.
Yeah, queen f6, and okay, that's it. He's just essentially admitting he's got issues. And it's up to him to win it. Although I will say that it does seem at first glance a little bit difficult to move your f3 knight somewhere useful, right? Yeah. Because you don't have any control of the center. So he's going for that. But even in the long run, if you put your rook on a square like e4, b4, even like a square like d6 to try to push the d pawn, right? It's not so clear what you're going to do with the knight on f3. I don't know.
Yeah, actually, now that you say that, I think that White can regret taking on d5 a little bit because that pawn e6 is much better placed on d5. That sounds weird. It's an isolated pawn. But what that white knight needs to do is go to c4. My knight can't go to c4 with your pawn on d5. So yeah. I think there will be some regret here if Esipenko can't convert this. But he still has all the time in the world because that d pawn is isolated, can't go anywhere. White is coordinated very well. Create some luft for your king. Play a move like pawn to h3 or pawn to g3. I'm not sure which one. You can always, I think g3 here is simple enough. All right, h4.
Yep.
Like, Robert, you know what you're talking about. I'm going to get aggressive. Go for h5, maybe h6 check. There are some weak dark squares I could take advantage of.
Yeah, but see, this is a problem. I think Black to the queen side is a little bit faster because all you need on the queen side is to take that a pawn. And then as long as you fly all the way back to the king side, that a pawn will be a permanent target for the demise of White's position. It's just White always needs to keep in mind that a4, a3, a2 is coming. Now he just has to calculate that he's not getting checkmated, right? Because if he takes a4, he surrenders the potential queen c6, queen c3 ideas on this diagonal. So as this game heats up, and we might have a fourth decisive game in a row to start the match, I should mention that the winners of the Junior and Women's Speed Chess Championship receive an all-expense-paid trip to the FIDE Chess.com Isle of Man Grand Prix. So the Isle of Man used to be this kind of amazing open tournament, and now this year it's got a little bit of a different format in that it's the fantastic Grand Swiss. And if you don't know what it is, then, well, honestly, you should know. I suggest after this game is over, go online, check it out, read up. It's amazing. It really is amazing. What do you think about allowing h6 and queen c3?
Not as amazing, but queen f4 here might solve the, there it is, queen f4. But queen g7 check, do you go win h7? That's what I was wondering while you were mentioning the Grand Swiss, which, by the way, will be an epic tournament. Top 100 players in the world are invited, plus some wild cards, plus the winner of the JSCC and WSCC, so that'd be great. But here I'm concerned about white's king. Not that I'm going to get mated, but if I do go queen g7 check and take on h7, well, is my king going to fall victim to a ton of checks? That's kind of the concern I have.
Actually, Robert, my concern was just queen f6 and rook h8.
Oh, that's filthy.
So yeah, my concern is just, it's not about the checks, which is almost difficult to envision. It's like you look at queen c1, you look at rook c8 with the idea of rook c1, you're just like queen f6, rook h8. And then again, because what did I mention? I mentioned that if you lose this a4 pawn, the rook versus minor piece endgame is going to be a hassle, right? Because you're always looking out for the a pawn marching down the board. And he's gone for it, and will we get queen f6? Maybe he has something better.
Well, what's he going to do after queen f6? Because rook h8 forces the queens off the board if you need them off the board. But like you said, the queen's not going anywhere. So a4, a3, a2, a1 seems like a pretty straightforward plan here for black.
Yeah, he must have
overlooked this.
Yeah, he must have, or he must have thought that after a move like queen g7, after rook h8, he can hang on. But yeah, queen f6 is a tough one because you're looking aggressively, always looking for forcing variations for the opponent. He just goes queen f6. The point, everybody, is not that the queen is trapped and you're going to lose it. You can always get queen g7 for white here and defend your queen. But the problem is that if the queens are traded and the rook picks up his pawn, you're down 2 pawns now. You have 5 versus 3, and the passed a pawn for black should prove decisive long term. So yeah, and you can't push the g pawn here, everybody, because queen f3. So Hikaru was saying rather than queen h7 that there was knight e5, right? This seems logical. The queen defends the knight c6 always, knight defends the bishop. Definitely from a coordination perspective, knight e5 looked nice.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there weren't perpetual checks just yet. So knight h2.
Now I'm looking at knight e5, king e6, but let me focus on the game. Knight h2. Yeah, I mean, at this point, you're sort of, can you even go queen a1 and rook h8? But obviously the knight will come back to f1, so.
Yeah, you can play rook h8 right up. I mean,
yeah, just rook h8 right.
Just force the queens off the board, play your, take that pawn back, play a4 later. Yeah, this does not look very good for Esipenko. And he looks upset. I saw his face, he's shaking his head. He just clearly missed. I mean, I missed it too, so I can hardly blame the guy. But he missed that his queen just gets trapped over there and the a pawn runs.
So I think, was it Alexey who said that his weakness is defense? So is his weakness defending for himself or noticing defensive resources for his opponent when he is attacking? I find that that's my biggest weakness in chess. I think if I did a 50 question tactical test, I would get like 60%, which would be better than how I did in school, but still. Let's, and knight h2, what is the big thought here? Is he trying to...
Probably trying to be precise so he doesn't, ruin this game away. Because here, rook and 5 pawns and bishop knight and 2 should be winning, and he knows it. But there are some weaknesses, right? The b6 pawn. So if my knight could get to a4 really quickly, which it can't really, then I could go after the b6 pawn and blockade the a pawn all at once. But right now I'm not getting there. And so maybe the white king will need to make a quick dart over there for the queen side. But after a4, just go a3 here. You can even go g5 to remove the guard of the knight. Just looks pretty terrible.
Yeah, okay. So the hypothesis is proving true that, yeah, you can't defend both sides of the board, and it's just over. I did mention, actually, when that queen came to b4 for black, all you have to do is pick off the a pawn, and as long as white's attack is not decisive on the king side, it should be game over. I am a little bit surprised by the time situation. I really hope it has something to do with just an investment of thought and not internet problems, because long term, we didn't mention, could be a problem, especially in bullet.
Yeah, and I also didn't mention that right now there are construction workers literally right outside my window, and I see them, not just hear them, hammering on wood. I think they're just, I don't even know what they're doing, making some scaffolding probably. But it, just caught my attention. As this game is coming to a conclusion in black's favor, I just had to make a mention that, I'm getting two awesome views. One is of this chess match between two amazing young players, and the other is I think it was Sprite on my windowsill.
I also just want to say, is this the first time that the 4 people featured on a speed chess championship, that's including all of them, women's, juniors, whatever, are only from like 2 places and not 4? Like Robert and I are both from New York. Both of these players are from Russia. Generally, you have 4 different places. Did we set a record? Am I cherry picking stats?
You don't work for ESPN or anything like that on the 3rd Thursday of November. Only in even years on cold, rainy days. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we know where in Russia they're from? Are they from the same city by any chance?
We do know that. If you give me like 10 seconds, I'll literally pull it up right here.
Okay, so I'll look at this opening and say D takes C4 again. Well, could have been played. We saw that in one of the earlier games. That was a win by Esipenko, actually, in that one. So with the colors reversed in this QGD. And black is very, very solid here. Did you find it? So I can stop talking about the opening?
No, not yet. Nope, have not found it yet.
So I'll go back to talking about the opening. But the QGD is rock solid. And one of the ideas that white has against the setup is if you look, black has these 3 pawns from the A to C file, and white has 2. So a pawn minority attack, which will not be played in this game because the rook just went to D1, but often you play rook A to B1, pawn to B4, and then pawn to B5 to break open the king side. And it's a minority attack because you have 2 pawns versus black's 3 on those 3 files, but it's actually useful because one of your rooks is pressuring the C6 square. So, Levy, what do you make of this decision of rook to D1 instead? I played this a lot online, and putting the rook on D1, it's good for like bullet chess because eventually, like maybe it gets tactical and crazy. But in the interim, I don't really see what the advantage is for white.
Yeah, it's always interesting for me to see like these classical Queen's Gambit declines. I mean, we've been playing them forever, and we will not stop playing them anytime soon. So it's always curious when a different rook move is made. Like I think recently, like you said, a trending move has been rook AD1, and then you have to dive into the merits of it. Personally, I like also going for just A3 before and pressuring the queen side. I've won some nice games with that. I know it's a miracle. I win some chess games every now and then. I don't know. I think he's going to have to prove its worth. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a different shifting of the rooks in the future. Could he have just played a move to make Andrey think like, rook AD1, oh, it's not a usual move. It's a blitz game. Okay, I'm going to invest some thought, come up with a solution. I also know where the players are playing from. So Esipenko is playing at Tchaikovsky, which is that I'm not sure exactly where the tournament is held, but he's in Tchaikovsky. We can have an answer for that in 5 seconds. And Alexey is actually playing from his home, which is not so far from Russia's biggest city, no? Moscow. So
okay. Cool. I asked, you answered, so that's good teamwork here. And honestly, I like black's position in this one. Esipenko has been impressing me. Yep, bishop g6, nice, because you can't take the rook on e6 with the queen on c2 hanging. I think this construction worker is smoking a Marlboro out my window. I turn to look at my second monitor here in the chat, and then I just see what's going on out the window. It's just super, super interesting. But anyway, knight on f4, bishop g6. If you move your queen away, doesn't black just go like rook back to e7, rook a to e8, bring my knight into the game and just claim that white has absolutely nothing here?
Yeah, in the long run, I can even envision some sort of attack developing on the king side. I mean, you don't just put your rook on e6 and queen d6 and not dream of something on the h file with rook h6. Of course, it is far away, and you have to do something with the knight and the bishop. But if you trade the minor pieces, how exactly does white prevent rook h6, queen e6, queen h3? It's not so easy.
Yeah.
I mean, because there we go. Your plan exactly.
I mean, white has no pieces on the king side, so it's not that you're worried about getting checkmated quite yet. It's just how is white going to gain space? Because on the queen side, your typical b4, b5 minority attack, not happening with my queen on d6. And now black might be ready to play g5 himself and kick this knight away from f4. And okay, f3, trying to go e4, I'll play rook a to e8 first. There's no reason to rush. Right? I mentioned g5. Wait, what? Why the rook there?
Yeah, he's preparing, I suppose, for pressure. Oh, maybe because if e4 takes, there was some bishop g4 stuff, but e5 was always a problem, right? So, well, e4 you couldn't play immediately, right? Aren't you? You're losing that trade. So He's playing e3 too. Okay, now there we go. Yeah.
That is a very high level decision right there. It wasn't that rook a to d8 and then d8 was something that was super intelligently planned. But what is high level is admitting your mistake. Because many people, they make a move and they're like, oh man, I should put my rook on e8 immediately, and they'll do something else so they feel like they don't look quote unquote stupid.
Robert, could he have just been baiting him? Like maybe white didn't have to go for e3, or is it the only way to play the position for white? Like maybe he was just like, oh, rook d8. Okay, e3, boom, now the rook is on e8.
Well, white's going to try to go rook e2, rook e1, and eventually pretend to threaten e4. But I don't know if this will ever be viable, considering I think knight b6 to c4 is a pretty decent idea.
That's a very nice idea.
And typically, the standard plan is go a5, a4, and try to chisel at white's queenside. But here, he's just going to put his knight around to d6 and prevent e4 some more. That said, white can play g4 either now or in the near future, and maybe even expand on the king side because white's center is very well defended. Playing g4 looks risky, but black doesn't have pieces to really just go attack on the king side, and that's why bishop g6 is a prophylactic move. Stopping e4 because it doesn't gain a tempo. I mean, it doesn't stop it. You can still play it, but it doesn't gain a tempo when you do it. And g4 as well is not as strong with the bishop on g6.
And there is the big move we've been waiting for. Look at everything that white has done to make this possible. This is the speech that you give now. You've got a knight on f2 and c3 supporting this pawn. Now what? You going for d5 or e5? Or are you just going to maneuver your pieces and support your center?
See, you asked the great question from white's perspective. I was about to ask the same question from black's perspective. Am I going to go rook d7 and go after d4? Or was I going to go knight d6 and go after e4? So it just goes to show that all of the action is coming down to the center right now. And here, after c takes d5, e takes d5, white has this passed pawn, which is nice, right? It's a protected by a piece, not by a pawn. You'd love that to be protected by another pawn, but it's a protected, isolated passed pawn that can be used as a thorn in black's side. Or on the flip side, it might just be able to be ganged up on, and you might just win the pawn. So well, here, knight d3 to c5 is very tempting. Well, actually, maybe that doesn't work. Knight d3, d5, knight c5. I guess you have ideas including pawn to d4 there.
Yeah, so now both sides have a rook in front of their queen, the other rook on the e-file, the minor piece is playing. If you had to tell me which minor piece is the worst, which one do you think it is? Is it the bishop on h5? Is it the knight on f2?
I kind of like the bishop on h5 just for the long-term potential. It covers all of these light squares here. I say the knight on f2. I don't see a future for it because I think its present is its best situation where it's defending against ideas of the bishop coming to g4 and just helping the king side out. I actually didn't love the decision to take on d5.
Yeah.
I thought that was allowing white to hop into the action a little too easily.
There's no tactics here with knight f6, knight b6 because somehow you're just always in time to cover everything. If all these three pieces were traded and rook, knight, and queen on the queen side and over, and you're left with rook e1, knight f2 versus bishop g6, rook e8, black has all the cards to play with, right? He just plays f6 and then he targets the e4 pawn, and all of a sudden your big center comes down to just a weak isolated pawn. So knight f4 is a curious move. He's defending d3, releasing the knight from the tension of the knight on b6, essentially maybe rendering the knight on b6 without a task. Yes, it's difficult to route it anywhere.
And actually, I always say this, a knight is dominated by a pawn 3 squares ahead of it. So the pawn on b3 is dominating this knight on b6 because it takes away a4 and c4 from it. So it's got no good jumps. And here, I'm wondering, if you're white, do you take this bishop? Because, Levy, what you were saying before is very accurate. The bishop would love to go to f7. And once the bishop gets to f7, you might even consider a5 to a4 to make this bishop useful on the queen side.
Well, I like this maneuver. I think this kind of gives fresh life to the position. It might not be the best tactically off. Wow, look at this. Look at this. He's just tactically defending a7 with rook a8. Another queen trap possibility.
Yep. Please say it.
Yeah, I was going to say this is very clever. He definitely did not see queen c6. Queen a5 was sort of a shot in the dark. And now he has to come up with something.
Maybe e5, just try to liquidate. That's one option. I don't love e5 because it opens up the light squares. But if I'm able to just trade off the pieces pretty quickly, I don't think white should be in too much danger. Okay, decides to liquidate another way with knight g6.
Rook t1, interesting. He's still fighting for something.
Yeah.
He doesn't quit. He doesn't quit. That first game did show it. he does find ways to introduce new problems to his opponent. The only problem here for him is that he's down a minute.
I love this move. Please take my ace up on knight e5 comes. Watch out for the light squares on the king side. If you go queen e3 here, which is a way to defend the f3 square, then black plays queen c2, and you can't play rook d2 because I sack my queen on d2 and knight f3 check maneuvers.
But can you go rook c? Well, queen a4 is a clever little way to invite a queen trade because the rook on e8, but b5, no queen trade.
Yep, with no time on the clock, I think white's going down here. Rook a8. Just go rook a8, take a2, and okay, queen c2 is probably not a bad move, but rook a8 seemed a little bit more forcing.
h3, so many weaknesses.
Yeah, queen e2, just taking away the retreat e3 square. I think the move order maybe didn't matter too much, but queen e2, rook c2 is coming no matter what. This is winning for black.
Yeah, this does not look good. f2 is protected, but f3 is not. And h3, weakened g3. We've seen h3 be a problem in a lot of games, and everybody remembers the famous Hikaru clip of h3 that Fabiano played. Yeah, h3 just doesn't seem like a good move ever. Just don't go h3, okay? So...
Yep, and here comes rook c2. And after rook c2, it's bye-bye time, because rook d2 is by rook c1 check. And...
Oh, what a move. Rook f2, rook f2, rook d8? That's tricky.
No, it's check. Rook f2 is check.
Yeah. Excuse me, I'm going crazy. I don't know. I was like, okay, just rook f2, and what is he thinking about then?
Maybe he's gonna take on g3 first. And
See, his thought, like the fact that he didn't play rook f2 like instantly, completely confused me. I was like, wait, what is he doing? For a second, I thought the king was on g1. So he goes queen g3. I guess he just realizes that he's winning no matter what. Okay, great.
He's puzzle rushing it, right? You got to have the exact correct solution. Even if rook f2 is completely winning, you have to play it super precisely. Now knight f3 comes. Rook f3 is also good. King h7. What a move. What a concept.
I'm so confused.
Play knight f3. Just play knight f3. There it is. You threaten mate 3 different ways. You know, queen g1's mate, knight h2's mate.
What a fun move, man! This match is great. What is the stat pulled up? It was how many decisive games to start? I don't like the match with the most decisive games to start. So it's a good stat for us to pull up. I remembered it was talked about. Oh, and we have a Sicilian, outstanding. Our first e4.
Woo! We're gonna get some excitement here. And I just saw someone Shadox that anyone here from Belgium. If you are in Belgium, in Brussels, go to Tanten Garbi, which is such a good sandwich shop. But clearly I'm hungry. But Tanten Garbi is one of the best meals I've ever had. And Levy, do you have experience in the Sicilian?
No, I don't. I wish I could phone a friend here because my best friend does, Alexey Sarana. He is essentially, his bishop goes to b5 in every Sicilian except the Taimanov.
You could phone me as well because I have a lot of experience in these Sicilians because actually just answered a little interview for Chess Life for Kids. Mm-hmm. They asked what were my favorite openings growing up and what are my favorite openings now. And growing up, I always played different versions of the close Sicilian because just all the theory. And I said now I play d4 because I don't want to deal with the Sicilian at all. Like I just don't want to deal with the theory. So right here with the typical plans, the A pawn was traded for the B pawn, which is generally speaking very good for white because the rook on A1 is a target of this pawn on A6. But what black is trying to do is get an opportunity for this bishop. Right? The bishop on C8 is not doing anything on D7. From B7, it puts pressure on the E4 square. So while the situation looks good for white in terms of the pawn structure, black has clear play putting pressure in the center. Yeah,
I actually, just quickly circling back to the whole E4 thing, I personally don't go for E4 because of, the vast amount of theory and decision making for what systems you have to play in the Sicilian and obviously even E4, E5. You have to be familiar with all the different nuances, whether it's the Italian that you're going for or whether it's the Spanish. These positions always fascinate me because, for example, my good friend, he used a recent idea that was published. I don't remember quite where, maybe like on Chess Publishing, for example. So he used it in a recent game, and then Anish Giri actually played against Hari Krishna in this tournament in Shenzhen, I believe. And Anish didn't know the idea, but neither did Hari Krishna. So it's always, these positions are always flourishing with new developments, whether it's through computers or correspondence, and that makes it very exciting for a spectator. Good thing I'm not learning them. So.
I mean, there's just so much theory to know and just so many different variations, but that actually is why I think these kind of structures are nice for speed chess because they're not that well studied, honestly. And so you said, Alex Ostrovsky plays this every time with white bishop to b5. And you get that familiarity and that experience in these lines that, okay, here, for example, e5, there it is. That's the thing is I immediately think about this move e5 because I know that these positions are closed beforehand, but it's not that white wants to keep the game closed permanently. You're just waiting for the right moment, the opportune moment. And so e5 is just something you always should consider and just full board awareness. And now where are black's pieces going? Because white, if that knight moves from f6, let's say go knight to d5, I'm already thinking of ways to go queen h5 and try to checkmate. With his knight c5 and d7, I'm thinking, can I bring my knight from e5 to c4, or probably my knight from d2 to c4, reinforcing my knight on e5 and putting pressure on a5. So he goes this way. He's going to replace that first knight on e5 with the second knight. So knight f3 here is what I expect. But either way, you see that white has quick activity and control over many of the game's important squares.
Yeah, knight c4 to get to e5 looks quite nice, as well as pressuring the a-pawn. Knight c4.
Watch out for queen d5, maybe.
Okay, so he chooses this way. Why f3 over c4, you think?
I think there was queen d5 things with the knight on c4 that he was worried about, with g5 hanging, g2 mate being threatened. So at least the knight here blockades the queen. And now the move I play immediately is rook a4. Like I said, the closest lane does not have to stay closed forever. Rook a4, rook over to g4, h4, and go try to mate black.
Wow,
that is an advanced rook lift. That's what I call that.
Yeah, what is the problem? Last Samurai suggesting that instead of knight d7, maybe he had bishop takes h7 check on move 19 because the knight can't take due to e7. And if the king takes, there's some tactical tricks potentially, I guess, with queen d3 and attacking possibilities. Like, yeah, actually, because queen d3, knight d7, right? And e7 is a problem. Maybe rook d8 there.
Yeah, I think it actually fails tactically, but because when you take on f6 to check, I take with the g pawn. But that's a very complicated line that it's hard to see in your head. But I think it actually did not work out, unfortunately. And here comes an ambulance. First ambulance of the day for JJ's idea.
Well, I don't know. Maybe they're preemptively calling it for one of the players. So, okay. I mean, I still very much like white's position. I think I can say one good thing about black's position, perhaps. The bishop on b7. For the most part, I actually very much like the way white is coordinated. Even with c4, slightly altering your queenside structure. I think the bishop on b5 is a bit annoying. Oh, this queen b6 move escaped me to put the bishop on c5 now. And now, actually, what I just said, when you play the move c4, you can no longer really fight for the dark squares on the queen side, right? So, because the bishop is coming to c5. So,
yeah, this is actually pretty double-edged. I mean, it seems like a very calm position. So, like, what edge is there? But the reason I say that is because look at black. Black's controlling these dark squares. The bishop on b5 feels a little weird. And from white's perspective, we're like, well, my pawns are a bit vulnerable on the queen side, but I have some activity potentially in the center. So rook a4, again, is a possibility. I wanted to play it earlier, so why not try it again? And where's that black queen going? That's did you help me double my rooks? I guess is what I'm wondering. Like, are you queen b3 and try to back rank mate me on d1 somehow? I'm not really sure what's happening here. But you did find
queen b3 and wow. Oh, that is very subtle. That is actually how Magnus beat Ding Liren, right? So it's this one little subtle rook move to correct the position to a3, and then you defend f3 from if black ever wanted to play bishop f3 and damage your structure. The rook on a3 now comes in, rook comes to a1, and if you actually look at the position, there is nothing in white's position that is unguarded.
Yep.
Right. So that's. Okay, so he does still go for bishop f3. Rook f3, though. What is the point? Okay, just going for b2.
Yeah.
I'm not convinced, Robert. I'm not convinced. Something feels off.
Yeah, I think that this b3, c4 setup can be super annoying, and this is where a bishop can dominate a knight. Look at the knight on f6. It's on a great square because it defends the king side, but the bishop on b5 actually kind of dominates it. Knight can't really go to e8 or d7. There's no clear place for it to go. Maybe there's some knight d5 ideas at the right moment, but always watch out for rook g3, right? White is probably threatening rook takes f6 right because that once I take on f6, you take with your g pawn, I rip open your king. You're not feeling safe over there. So that means a move like queen e7 is the safe move to play. But now bishop a4 says I'm protecting b3 forever, and a5 is under attack. And I think this is turning back in white's favor. It's been a back and forth battle thus far.
Yeah, this is really, really impressive. Bishop a4 is such a nice move. I think if you took a chat poll like Alexandra does, maybe two people would say bishop a4. They would be Hikaru and Jemil. And some of maybe if there's another title player in the chat, I do sincerely apologize. I haven't seen you yet, but this is so nice. This move basically is the cherry on the pie, as my coach says, and everything is now continuing to be protected. And he can, Robert, what do you think about advancing just the c pawn?
Not yet, because of rook d5, losing the pawn. But I know you don't get right. Yeah, I know what you meant. I'm just pointing out for the viewers that you have to be careful. You always want to advance a passed pawn, right? So that was your point, was that at some point soon, once my queen moves away from e5, there's no rook d5 threats, c5, c6 will be actually super annoying. And my main point was you also are conceding the d5 square. So it's kind of a give and take situation where you advance your passed pawn, go closer to queening, but you give black a very important d5 square made for the knight to hop into. And here after queen d4, vital question, Levy, answered right away. Do you trade it or not? And he's going after the a5 pawn. But knight e4 as a response here gives black some activity, some much needed activity. And I'm looking at rook d1 check followed by knight d2, knight f1 check ideas.
Oh, that tricky little sequence where you get the knight on f1 and the king on h2. Can't escape. Maybe white needs to go for h4, maybe even if all that comes in. And now actually bishop a4 has certain drawbacks. It's that you've kind of removed the bishop from the game almost, because nothing can fight against this knight. I was very curious why he traded the queens actually. I like maybe queen g5 maintaining the pressure offhand. Just that would have been my idea. Because what is the problem with just knight f2?
Whoa, double-edged now. He's going to take a5, so he's giving up his king side, hoping that the queenside pawns roam free. But if I'm black, I'm trying to figure out, can I go f5 and then try to go f4 ideas and go for mate? Okay, went for the slow method here, but I thought f5, f4 was really a nice attempt. Also, 19 seconds left for white.
Is this, I almost can't figure out, are they just simply going for a repetition, or is white gaining some time? Okay, never mind. Black is the one who breaks the repetition.
But I don't think I like that rook there. I would have moved the other rook, because now I'm so confused by this game. I would have played c5. Play g5 for black. Just go forward.
They do say that knights are tricky in bullet, right? And I mean, it's in any short time format, because it's got such a trajectory of moves, it's difficult to wrap your head around it sometimes. But if you just hide the king in some of these positions.
D2. Other rook to d2, game over.
Ooh, that is nice. Did he miss it? Oh, is he going to h4? He's going there.
No way. There's got to be a mate. Where's the mate? Puzzle rush it. Rook b d2. Rook b d2 it.
Yeah, laterally, right? Rook here and rook g5 is just checkmate. What does he do?
You can't go rook f4 because g5 check wins the rook.
Yeah, rook f4, there was g5. Yep, absolutely.
That didn't seem like was the desired plan.
But
king f7. Run the king over.
King f7. But then c5, c6, your pawns are just too slow, yeah?
Yeah, I think then I can just keep my king on c7 and push my e pawn, and your king's cut off. So
yeah, wow. But that would mean that Sarana wins, and it's 3-3. These guys are trading punches. The game's not over yet, right? Yeah, okay, now it is. I think this is, and the players, they've got 22 minutes to figure it out here in 5+1. It's a great match. It's a great match so far. It's living up to all the hype.
Yeah, we should probably remind everybody who these players are, because they're two phenomenal youngsters from Russia. And we have, who should we introduce first? I don't even know. Player with the white pieces here.
Why don't we do that? Let's introduce Sarana first.
Okay, we got Alexey Sarana with the white pieces. I think his live rating these days is 2641 FIDE, one of the top juniors in the world. And as you see, he's number 7 in the Junior Speed Chess Championship, playing the number 10 seed here. His interests are blitz, so clearly doesn't get out of chess too much. But his strength, he says, is tactics. His weakness is defense. What do you think about that? Do you think his weakness is actually defense? I thought he played a great defensive game just there.
I think that the amount of games that they're going to play today is going to just allow us to break down their chess personalities so much He's played great defense. Both players, I think, have shown really, really bright spots. I don't think we've seen any drastic changes in the middle of any game. Essentially, once a player has an advantage, correct me if I'm wrong, but over these 6 games, they've proven it. They've demonstrated an ability to convert advantages, and we have not seen a big script flipped in any game, I would say. So that I think is really interesting. And yeah, Andrey Esipenko, for me, Robert, I don't know about for you, but he came onto my radar when I saw his game against Karyakin in 2017, the very famous Queen B3. I suggest everybody take a look at that game. That's sort of, at least in my eyes, when he burst onto the chess scene. And he's been on the up and up. They're both 17 and 19 respectively, and I think they have a very bright future. So,
yeah, absolutely. That game against Karyakin that you mentioned was just, I mean, lights out, and that's a career highlight for anybody. Beating one of the world's best players, the former World Chess Championship challenger, pretty good. And especially from one Russian player to another, it's probably one of the role models in Russian chess. And here with the black pieces, speaking of Esipenko, I like black's position because white's king is stuck in the center. And what has white gained for it? Maybe some space in the center, your pawn's in d5. But I'm already thinking, can I go pawn to e4 and just start sacrificing things open up the position? Should I play knight to b4? Should I play knight to d4? And this is actually one of the drawbacks of having a position that looks so good. And I don't know. He went knight d4 after all that. But what do you think, Levy? Is this sacrifice going to pan out for black? I think it will.
I'm a little bit confused, actually, because it doesn't look so bad. But Andrey played knight d4 and kind of sighed and slumped back in his chair. So he must not like it that much. But I guess a pawn is a pawn in the opening. If we even go back to like move 7, where this early e4 happened, this is not super common. I generally see that if the bishop is traded on g5 for the f6 knight, what do you tell your students? They've traded a dark squared bishop. Place the pawn on e3, but e4 is offsetting kind of the static nature of the position. He immediately goes for dynamic play. It's a little bit weird that he plays queen d2 and then queen e3 maybe, but it's paid off. This e5 break in the center. It's the second time we've seen Andrey break. Remember that first game, d4?
Yep.
So he gets a little bit maybe courageous in the opening to kind of clarify the situation.
It's a weird moment to think, though, too, Levy, right? He's getting courageous, but then he's thinking after the sacrifice, which generally speaking is not a good sign. Because if I was playing with the black pieces, and Andrey is a better player than I am, but what I would do, there it is, rook e8 check. But you know that move came to him immediately. Same with his queen g6 idea, hitting g2. And maybe he doesn't have full compensation. It's already too late. You sacrifice the pawn. So what you need to do is make up for it on the clock. You're playing a 5-minute game. Now you both have plenty of time left, but wait, rook e4, rook e8, just like, can you just keep playing like that? I mean,
yeah, I'm starting to really like this. King f1 was I'm not sure if it was a necessity. Maybe it was, because if you don't play a move like King f1, then you have some problems right there. G2 and you're not going to go g3 because that further weakens your squares there. Yeah.
But my point is that, okay, he might get this one, and I think that rook d2 was a big mistake by Sarana. Whoa! Do you see that?
That is a bold move. So I guess his point is that if rook e2, then bishop d3 is coming, and the position is falling apart at the seams because rook e8. If king e2, what is the point? Is it queen g2?
G2, yeah. Then bishop g4 check, rook d8 check, bishop g4 check. All these checks are coming in. And
okay, well, you must take with. Well, I'm not so sure, actually. I mean, you must take with king probably to make your opponent prove it. I don't see an immediate refutation. I'm not the players, but
I don't know where the problem is your rook on. If you put that on the board, the rook on h1 is nowhere to go after queen takes g2. That's the essential problem here.
It can't go to e1, for example.
Then rook e8 check. You got to go d1, bishop g4 check.
Is there no way out there? There's no.
I don't think so.
Can you play like king c2 and no, you cannot go f3. Yeah, wow. Chad already knows the evaluation and the way the game will conclude, but that is amazing. Rook e2. Yeah, wow. I guess it is just lost. Okay, so Okay, he goes with the king. He goes with the king.
Okay, well, queen takes g2 is probably just lights out. Where can your pieces go? Rook d1, okay. Oh, I didn't even, okay, that move just escaped my mind completely. So is he going to keep with his sacrificial nature, and instead of going bishop g4 check and winning the exchange back, is he going to go rook e8 check and try to find a mate?
Rook e8 and rook e4 or something, right? Like to attack f2.
That looks pretty good. Oh, he did it. He's on fire right now.
He is. And wow. Yeah. And I think queen a7, he might even go for, well, he might not have to go for a move like b6 for style points. Maybe just queen g5.
Or rook takes c4. And just,
just even rook c4 to go rook c2.
And d5's hanging. Everything's falling apart. You're right.
Wow.
Honestly, this is one of the better Speeches Championship games I've ever seen.
Yeah, this is really, really nice. And now white is tanking on the clock. I think defense is so much harder in blitz. It's so much harder because black can throw a million different haymakers. And the problem is that even if some of them objectively, according to the engine, are not the best, it is so challenging. So to find the right nuanced move to defend yourself. Yeah, so what will we see? b6, rook c4, I mean, queen g5, everything looks good.
I don't say this much, Levy, but I think I owe Esipenko an apology because I was criticizing him for being slow to move rook d8 to e8 check, which was kind of the obvious move in the position. And he showed me. He's just like, hey, Robert, I'm just going to play a masterpiece, and the whole world is going to watch it happen, and you're going to have to swallow your words and your pride and admit it all on air. So that's what happened. Good job. Andrey, that was really nasty.
Yeah, wow. He's just going to mate him in the center of the board. That's incredible. Queen d3, rook c1. Yeah. Nice. What a game.
I would let my opponent checkmate me there.
Yeah, Peter Spindler style.
Yep.
Right, so... All right, wow, 7 decisive games to start things off. We've had match swings. We've had, wait, so let's count this. It was 0-1, 2-1, 3-2, now 4-3, right?
Yep, they're going really back and forth here.
That is amazing. Yeah, you guys, hey, those of you that have tuned in, I salute you. And if one of your friends is not watching today, please let them know what they're missing out on. It's a London. It's a London. How do you feel about the London?
I don't know, mixed feelings right now, because I think for the bullet chess portion and maybe the 3-minute portion, it's probably a better opening than the 5-minute, but that's just sort of my feelings overall with the London. I don't think it has the same bite that other openings do. And so I would kind of save it when you need to play quickly, because London is actually very easy to play for white. The moves come very naturally. This particular line, London, is more aggressive. So props to Sarana for playing this way for black. Because what your idea is, at some point, like f5, f4, and try to open up the position. Or even ideas of g5 and like rerouting your pieces as such, queen to e8, just play for the king side. So I actually am impressed by the way Sarana is playing here. And f5 is definitely the move.
I'm, you mentioned that you're a big fan of those Sicilian positions we've had. This position I've played probably over 50 times in various blitz games, maybe 5 or 6 times with black. In classical as well, like 5 or 6 times. This kind of approach with cd4 very quickly, everybody, it commits the structure for white to play ed4, because if you play cd4, you've already put your knight on d2, and that's pretty bad in certain structures after the symmetrical trade. You would much prefer it on c3. And so this knight h5 swing to advance the kingside pawns, it was introduced, I believe, was it by Wesley So? The Wesley So Anish Giri game from a few years ago, and it became extremely popular. Like cd4 knight h5 just became, I think actually Nicolas Sedlak wrote a book called The Modern London. He essentially wrote a second edition to include this variation, and maybe a couple of other small points. So this knight h5 approach has been super fascinating. I've actually not even seen the way that white is playing this, to just disregard everything on the king side. There was a game even in the US Championship, I think, played in this line with, what was it? I think it was Gata versus, was it Gata Hikaru? Was that the game? I don't know. Chat pros, go figure it out. That's a task.
Yeah, research, that's not our specialty. Whereas books are nice. You were chatting before, you know things about books and research and all that. But yes, it was Gata Hikaru. And right now, I like white's position a lot. you said you haven't seen white play like this. I mean, knight d3 to stop e5 and play rook e1, bishop f4, ideas like that to start initiating some trades look pretty good. Another thing that I always keep in mind is when should or when can white play moves like b4 or like g4. Because by playing g4, I'm kicking your knight away from f5. I might even consider playing g5 myself to free up the e5 square. And by playing b4, I'm just expanding on the queen side where I have an extra pawn. So
I am very perplexed. I saw someone in the chat actually make fun of me saying Levy's been confused several times. I'm very confused by knight e1. And maybe I just don't get it. I really liked putting the knights on d3 and f3. I am much more confused by putting the knight on c2. But yeah, obviously he's got some plans to go to e3 and challenge the knight on f5. I find white's approach in this game very interesting in the perspective that a lot of the times when I play like this with black, with knight h5, people try to punish the setup. They play aggressively, tactically. And here he just says, dude, you know what? Look at your committal pawn structure, e6, f6, g6. Long term, I'm gonna poke holes at it. h4, maybe h5, things like that. If black ever moves the f pawn and the f6 pawn, I would say, Robert, what do you think? It almost holds the entire integrity of the position together for black.
Yes.
Because if that pawn is on f5, it's an entirely different game. e5 is just juicy square. So, well, we'll see what he's able to do. I don't know what are white's plans in this position, do you think?
Well, first off, what's interesting is that Esipenko has been impatient in some games when he's at the black pieces, and he's trying to like be active to equalize. But here in this game, he's been extremely patient in, I think, a very good way. And well, you asked me what white's plans are. I'm not entirely sure, honestly, because it looks very nice optically for white, but I don't see a clear way to break through. And I see drawbacks for all sorts of different moves. If I put my queen on g4, am I just inviting e5, to allow black to expand? A queen on a4 says, all right, e5 is not possible because the pawn on d5 is hanging, as your rook on e8 is in trouble in many lines. So I stop e5, but what's my actual threat? So if black plays a move like bishop to c8 or bishop to b7, and there's bishop b7, we go to c6 and queen out. Did white actually gain anything putting the queen on a4? Maybe the rook ad1, as I would say, connecting the rooks was the point, but can't black just try to counter now with knight c4, maybe try to push the a and b pawns and create some sort of counterplay?
Yeah, a6, b5. Yep. No, that's very interesting. Knight a5, knight h5. This is chess in the 21st century, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, it is. And by the way, I saw Nubbins Goody in the chat saying Andrey's face constantly looks like he's in crisis, and I love it.
Yeah, I'm interested in the way they play. So Andrey just sits back, very far from the screen. He must have some sort of mouse. And Alexey is, up close, thinking. When you play blitz, Robert, obviously stakes are a little bit lower. You don't get too intense. I don't know. I've never seen you play blitz. But how do you sit? Are you more Andrey or are you more Alexey?
I think I'm in between because Andrey's way too relaxed. I don't feel like you get the optimal mouse speed by sitting like that. And Sarana now, he's like really, his face is in the webcam, and that feels too close because I need to be able to maneuver. I need the flexibility. So I would definitely be somewhere in between.
Yep. This is so somebody saying it looks like a Leningrad Dutch where black played f6 instead of f5, which essentially negates the Dutch entirely because I think in the Dutch you have to put the pawn on f5. So yeah, this is actually one curious thing. The pawn structure in particular in these positions, I can't tie to a different opening. Like, right. I think it's a very, very unique structure. And it makes black play dynamically.
You know what it looks like to me, actually? If I'm going to you make me say what opening came from, maybe like an exchange Caro-Kann.
Yeah. Yep. With the structure. Yeah, anytime in the Londons you get CD, then you get these kind of exchange caros. Just I play the caro and I don't put my pawns like this, but maybe I should start doing that. I'll win more games.
Learn from Sarana here. Play b5 now. Say, okay, I'll give you an opening advantage. You'll get frustrated. You'll spend some time, some chunks of the clock, and then I'll counter at the right moment, and you won't be able to handle it.
What is the idea? Yeah. What is the idea of knight h3? Bishop f4?
And maybe to stop e5, because if I take on e5 to take your f pawn, then I have knight g5 ideas.
So you don't get the 2 center pawns.
Yeah, it's a bit prophylactic. I don't love it, if I'm being honest. And knight d6, I think, is an okay move. Black is afraid of committing the pawn to b5. I would have put my pawn on b5 with my knight on c4. Here, also a5 first is a consideration, so that I can go b5 next. But neither side really wants to touch their pawns. They're trying to, optimize the placement of their pieces before doing so. But if I'm black, Levy, I'm worried about just getting kind of rolled over. There, finally, Levy.
Something's happened. Something is pushed.
It happened.
These guys have not traded any pieces since move 7, by the way. Excuse me. There was one knight swap.
Yeah, move 20.
But like positions like this where all the pieces are on the board always fascinate me because it's just the full army is battling, right? This is so cool. Whereas in some games we had immediate trade on f6 or something like that. So
this is so ridiculous. After knight c4 and you play rook d1, Levy, it's your rooks are on normal squares, but they went through such an unorthodox way.
Yes. They did like a little carousel.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's like both players they don't know what to do. They're trying to figure it out. But time is ticking. So they've been trying to figure it out for 6-7 minutes now, but time is getting to a minute each. It's about to be a bullet match where, well, we'll see what happens. I'm nervous because it's a 1-point game. It's a 1-point match. And, okay, now things are about to happen.
Oh,
I like
finally.
This. B3, he's about to play B3 and just be solid. Okay, queen e2, maintaining pressure on e4.
Yep, you can't take on c4 with the pawn. You lose your knight on e4. If you take with the rook, I take on e4 first, and then your rook will be hanging on the c4 square.
Ooh, okay, spicy. I like it.
Oh my gosh! So what's going on here? What if I take on e5? You take back with the pawn. And I take on d5. Can I get away with that?
With f4, but then pawn f4. What are you're going to go bishop e4?
Yeah, though he might be going for this. There it is.
Oh wow! I'm suspicious, Robert. I'm suspicious, but maybe you're just a genius.
Well, I'm hoping it's a brilliant decision because it makes me look good, but I'm also suspicious. But White will go up a pawn. The pawn d5 will stay on the board, and White's king is actually not that vulnerable, right? E takes f4. I take your knight on e4. Even if you take on g3, I just take back, and you don't have enough pieces to really come at my king. Plus, I can always go queen g4 next and protect everything while being aggressive.
By the way, I just want to demonstrate to everybody watching that first instinct to just take and take on d5 actually was right. It probably was the tactically correct continuation because now you're making black prove himself, and it just goes to show you a blitz skill. I think we should all tell Robert how amazing he is. That was the first thing he blurted out. He blurted it out in 2 seconds, and it was on the board. And now White is just up a pawn with the passed d pawn,
and he missed bishop takes g6 instead of queen f3. By the way.
Oh, Robert. You're killing me.
I mean, I have my moments,
The point, everybody, if rook e2, bishop f7 is a check, you pick up the exchange. That's disgusting. Robert, you need a sandwich and a shower, preferably at the same time.
I'm gonna drink some water from my red solo cup, and I'm gonna enjoy how this game concludes.
Robert, h6, or is that too much? No, I was thinking maybe h6, something on the h file with queen f6, but okay, this is just too much.
Well, now you have to take on h5, I think. So right. Your h6 move might have been good because g takes h5. I don't see how White's attack really picks up steam here, but maybe rook f1, I lose my bishop, can't do that. So rook e2, and then bring my other rook to f1. Also, both sides.
Robert, you might be rook f1, queen f6, and rook f5, or is there rook g4?
Oh, there's rook g4 there. Bishop takes d5. Make use of the pin. Just do it. I don't even know if it's good. Okay, now d6 looks trouble.
Takes rook f1, bishop b7. Boom.
Exactly.
Yep. There we go. Throw in the check, unpin yourself, bishop b7. And White is going to start pulling ahead here, short of a flag. But that is a very nice little trade of punches, and that's it.
Wow. Wow.
We have 1 game left. I think, actually, maybe not.
Yeah, I think we do. I think there's like over a minute left in this 5-minute segment. So it'll be the last game after this one. Unless they play this off.
Exactly. Actually, it could be in his interest. I don't know. He doesn't know the match that you're all. Now okay. Never mind. There will be 1 more game. Wow. Esipenko up 5-3. This looks like the last 5+1. Amazing chess.
Oof. Esipenko loses the first one. The good old match gambit. Usually it's the Swiss gambit, but they're playing a match. And then he need to be motivated, right? He beat Kovalyov in their game today. in the Bukowski tournament. And then he's just like, I got my win for the day. I'm happy. And he lost this game. He's like, you know what? I'm still hungry. I still got to win many more games today before I can go to sleep. So,
I'm just going to say this, though. Like, that was his first win of the tournament. I believe it is the first super tournament he's been invited. Well, that's not true. He's played a ton of Steel Challengers, but it's a very, very strong field. And he lost the first game of the event. Then he had 5 or 6 draws. This is his first win.
Yep.
He must be feeling pretty good about himself. Like, my first win, I would be pretty pumped. I would want to play some more. I would want to get some wins, and he's got 5 of them right now. So
I hope that they have a rest day tomorrow. I don't know if they do, but I really hope so for his sake. But yeah, you're right. This is his first really super tournament where the average rating is approximately 2,700, or maybe just a little below that. The challengers in Waikensei was very strong, but not quite as strong as that event. And so speaking of strong, it's very different playing in a round robin where you change your opponent day after day and playing the same person over and over again for like 3 hours. And Sarana has been a monster in the Pro Chess League. He is the Australia Kangaroos top board. And right now with the white pieces, he needs to make his mark in this game because he's down 2. I think, but I'm not positive, that Esipenko is the stronger bullet player. But I'll need to check on that. I could be totally off there. But I think that at least Esipenko said he enjoys bullet chess a lot. And I'm wrong. I just looked at their ratings. Sarana is the higher rated bullet player on Chess.com. But, maybe in a match situation is different. Your focus level is at an all-time high. But I'm worried, starting to get worried about Sarana's score thus far.
Yeah, I've played them both. And I definitely have felt that, well, I mean, they're both very, very strong players, but I think I've played Esipenko a little bit more. He is extremely strong in bullet. And I just will say this, like, Nihal Sarin was supposed to be a huge favorite in bullet over Sevian. I mean, not just his countrymen from India in the chat, but even people who maybe were not biased during that match were saying, oh, if this is close, Nihal is going to crush him in bullet. And how did that go? Not a knock on Nihal, but ultimately it was 17-8, and Nihal even tilted, I think was the general consensus in the bullet. So I really think that anything is possible, as Kevin Garnett says. So what has transpired? There's an A-pawn. There's an A-pawn on A3.
But the A-pawn will not be on A3 for very long. I think this is actually extremely good for white. That pawn on A3 voluntarily went there. And then when white went B4, instead of allowing the position to close itself down on the queen side, he allowed the captures and didn't take the pawn on C3 because B6 was hanging. So kind of a misguided choice by Esipenko, I think, because now you're just down a pawn.
Yeah, you've just sort of another overly excited pawn push, pawn advance. Yeah, and
he's only doing it with the black pieces.
It's really strange. It's really, really strange. But he did win in an E4, E5 today with black. So,
I'm starting to wonder. I'm getting into psychology, and I'm starting to wonder in these positions that are naturally slightly worse for black because white moves first, you get an opening advantage for a while. If Esipenko just feels much better with the white pieces because typically people do, right? I mean, most players prefer to have white. You're statistically more likely to win the game. I'm someone who actually loves playing with black because I like that psychological component where my opponent feels like, oh, I need to win. I have the white pieces. Win with white, draw with black. That mantra. Right. And I don't know, something about all these early pawn pushes for Esipenko. It's I don't know what to make of it really.
Yeah, I haven't been keeping an eye on this one component of what the decisive count of games has been white and black. Obviously, we've had 8 decisive games. Like, there have been no draws. These players might be friends, but it has not shown itself to be true in these 8 blitz games that they have played against each other. Every single time someone has been a winner and a loser. So I don't know what to make of it. And speaking of not knowing what to make of it, Robert,
the bishop hanging on E7.
Yeah, this is just over, right? You're just losing a piece. Wow.
I think you knew what to make of this. Sound like you're pretty sure.
Yeah. Maybe he thought he had some counter shot, but nope. That is okay. This is creative.
Also, Sarana looks so disinterested despite the fact that he's winning this game. He's just like, he's just no emotion, just like, oh, okay.
Hey, good bounce back. Was that 3 straight for Esipenko? It was, I believe. So,
I think you're right. Yes.
So he's cutting the bleeding. Hey, 3 in a row is big. Sometimes that can really balloon. I think personally in Speed Chess Championship format that the biggest transition is 3-1 to 1-1. Speaking of 3-1, the 5-1 section has concluded with a win for Alexey Sarana. The game will be aborted. It's 5-4. It's basically as close as it can be when the decisive games are up. We're going to take a break, Robert, and everybody, and we'll be back shortly. Stay with us. Don't go anywhere. 3-1 is coming right up.
premium membership at Chess.com will help you improve your game with full access to a powerful set of learning tools. Unlimited tactics let you practice like a master, with more than 50,000 puzzles to challenge you at every level. Our library of interactive chess lessons, created by master coaches, will enhance every aspect of your game. And after each game you play, the computer analysis feature will give you feedback on every move you played, turning every game into a chance to learn. And that's not all. Premium benefits also include unlimited tournaments, video lessons, the Opening Explorer, and much, much more. Upgrade now to take your game to the next level.
And welcome back to the Junior Speed Chess Championship round of 16 match between Andrey Esipenko and Alexey Sarana. We just concluded the 5+1 section. For those of you just joining us or joined us halfway through the 5-1 segment, that portion is over, and now we have 1 hour of 3+1 blitz. Robert, your impressions after a 5-4 scoreline in that first portion?
Yeah, I think this matchup can go either way. Both of these players are very talented youngsters. We've seen different styles. We just made a mention in that final game of the 5-1 segment where Esipenko seems to be a bit impatient with the black pieces. He's playing very, very well, but in certain moments he's pushing pawns, and he's gone down a pawn in a couple of games or got himself into some trouble. But with the white pieces, I think he's been absolutely phenomenal. I think he deserves the lead that he has right now, but Sarana is proving that he will not go down without a fight. Starting with a 1-0 advantage, going down 5-3, and winning that last game of the 5-1 segment should give him confidence heading into the 3-minute portion.
Awesome. Well, I'm pumped for 3+1. We're going to have a faster pace, everybody. Obviously, you get 2 minutes less for the entire game. But will we see finally a game that potentially ends peacefully? That has yet to be seen. I believe that Alexey is ready to go. We are still waiting on a confirmation for both players, but okay, never mind. We don't need any confirmation. The games have begun. Andrey gets up from his phone and then is ready to go. Boom, the first move is on the board. I love it. That's how I play all my games. It's like,
right? You don't know exactly when it's going to start. You're on your phone and you're like, oh, my time. And here in the 3-minute portion, I was just talking about this, right? The London system, these D4, bishop f4 lines, I think it's much better suited for quicker time controls, because we saw in that other game in the London, black got some activity. White did end up winning the game. That was Esipenko, but I thought that black was doing all right for the majority of it. Here, where white can move so freely and so quickly, I think it's an advantage to have the white side of London as the time gets shorter on the clock.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's a very simplistic opening to play. You're not going to run into particularly any problems. I'm always curious how people do play these positions, not from a necessarily technical perspective, but just the pace at which you would like to play. Because sometimes if you're an individual that likes to keep things slow, steady, not take too many risks, it can be difficult to react to an opponent that always is out to get you and always wants to cause you problems. Yep. We know more than anybody as New Yorkers that people on the street can cause us problems. So you have to be ready at a moment's notice.
100% true. 100% true. And Levy, I was actually about to ask you something. If players didn't know that London existed, like let's say it just happened in a game, I feel like black would feel much more comfortable. Like, yeah. Like I always feel like people know that London's like slightly better for white, and there's like a nagging advantage and like little nagging advantage in all these different lines, so they get worked up and in their own head about it. Whereas I feel like objectively, black is often doing like totally fine, but you're just like worried about these little strategic elements that will come back to haunt you. So I don't know, maybe that's just me thinking about this.
That's a deep big picture analysis of the London. Is it? No, Robert, I mean, we're going to say, is it good to move the bishop from c1 to f4 so quickly? You weaken the b2 square. So objectively, are all the lines with queen b6 inherently the right way to play because you're targeting your opponent's weaknesses? Don't know. I do know that the very first London I faced over the board that I can recall in my chess career was against New York chess master Jay Bonin. And I lost because I took his queen on b3 and gave him the open A file. And I was like 1600, so my logic was, well, he has double pawns.
You're like, he's an IM. I'm giving him double pawns. We're getting into an end game. That means closer to a draw. You know, all that.
Exactly.
All that inexperienced logic. That's for sure.
Yeah, I got really excited, then I lost in 20 moves. So, it is what it is.
It's happened to the best of us.
Well, friends, while we have a little bit of peace in the position before things go a little bit crazy and someone throws a beer bottle, which I believe only one of the players can even partake in Russia. In the US, neither. So the winner of the Junior Speed Chess Championship and the Women's Speed Chess Championship gets a place in the Isle of Man Grand Swiss. Robert, you did a beautiful explanation of what that thing is. You want to summarize it once again?
Absolutely. It's an 11-round tournament hosted by the Isle of Man, formerly the Chess.com Isle of Man International. It's now the Grand Swiss. And so the top 100 players in the world by rating have automatic entry. And then there are going to be some wild cards, among whom are the winner. Well, it's not a wild card. There's some awardees, like the winner of the Junior Speed Chess Championship and Women's Speed Chess Championship. And the winner of the 11-round event qualifies for the Candidates Tournament, 8 players. And the winner of the Candidates Tournament, of course, plays Magnus Carlsen in a match. And before I go back to my analysis, I know I'm always the stickler for hardcore analysis, but what I will say is that Isle of Man is a phenomenal location. I had a blast playing there last year. I don't play much chess these days, but if there's one tournament that I would play in, it's definitely that one. I mean, I would absolutely just like, I don't know what I would do to play in that Grand Swiss because it's just such an amazing tournament.
Would you give up bagels?
I would. Oh, that's really tough. You really put me on the spot. I think I would give up bagels to play in it.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. That was rough, but I would do it because the reason why is for players, most players, like even the players in this matchup right now, who are very talented, you don't get access to the elite players of the world very often. And so last year in Isle of Man, I got to play Vishy Anand and other top players, and it's really motivating for me to have that opportunity. But anyway.
This is looking very tough for White. This is a perfect example of London queenside play, and White just got nothing. There's his central attempt, but I feel as though this is tactically failing, like, to something. Well, what if I just take the pawn and maybe go for a3?
That was pretty good. Just kind of hitting the base pawn in White's position, undermining the defense of the c3 square. Looks... Right. Really good to me. You can also take on c2 and then take on e4. So you win a pawn, at least for the time being. But is that one of those poison pawns where White will just win it back? Or is that a good decision to make? I don't know. Because if you take on c2, which he's just done, and play d takes e4, rook e2, and after f5, I guess there's just f3, which is super annoying.
Right. And then pawn takes f3. I guess you just take back on f3. Can you even consider playing rook e6?
Yeah, that's what I'd want to do, actually.
King f7, and then you get to double just in time and hit the bishop. Very interesting.
And that's the sort of thing White needs because, Levy, you pointed out very well that the pawn on b2 is like the weakest pawn on the board.
Right.
So if I'm black, I really want to play rook to b8, but I can't do that with a bishop on h2. And this decision trades off and liquidates. And if you're White, you have to worry about the c3 pawn because your bishop can't get to d2 in time. Or if you go rook e3, which is necessary to defend that pawn, okay, I guess I forgot about bishop d6. So maybe he gets there in time, Levy.
Wow, yeah, and if he can get to b4 in time, sometimes in these positions when you feel it slipping, you even start hallucinating ways that your opponents are going to start getting a better position, right? Like taking the c4 pawn, for example. So rook e5, rook c5, obviously it's far away, but hey, in this format, everybody, we're consistently at a point where time trouble is becoming a factor. And d5, Robert? Oh, okay, exactly.
Yes, d5 for sure was the intention of White to make use of the background checkmate motif. And
rook e2, rook e2 is just the winning endgame. Yep, rook e2. Yep.
Oh no, that bishop on b2 is stuck.
Uh-oh, and g3 for White, and the bishop is toast.
Oh my, how did that happen? g3.
G3 or even bishop d6, right? They both control.
What was king f3?
Yeah, I have no idea what king f3 was. Now it's just a draw.
What was wrong with g3?
I don't know, Robert. If I make a move better than the players, either something's up or I did something good for once. I don't know. Bishop f8?
What? I'm hardly ever speechless, but that idea, he worked his way into the idea, played rook e2 to trade rooks, and then just...
I'm scared someone's going to lose this somehow. Wow.
They want to have their first draw. Is that it? They just want to end the bloodbath. I'm very surprised, Levy.
I'm also very surprised. I'm not so sure what to say. If the structure gets locked, is there any hope for White to bring the king to a4? I'm surprised he didn't do it faster, before the king got to e8.
Watch out for king d5 ideas. Now f takes g4 is a huge threat.
Oh, fg4 and king e4.
But I guess you have king e2 just in time.
Yeah. Wow. He's just getting it in time. Wow.
And you're very fortunate that after king e2, bishop c1, whenever you go king f4, bishop b6 cuts you off from the g3 square. So bishop
that's very timely. Yeah, and it looks like White is just in time. White is just in time. Okay, peace is upon us, maybe. I'm not 100% sure yet. Well, it took 3-1, but it looks like there will be some tranquility for a brief moment as the players figure out the...
Yep. Sorry, I was looking at the 3 seconds left and it was ticking down. I was worried he was about to lose on time.
No, I think it makes perfect sense. It's Hikaru match strategy. If you're up a point, why not play it out forever? Wow, yeah, he's just also getting dangerously low on the clock. Oh, man. Oh!
Is this connection really bad? Wait, what's going on now?
Yeah. Hold on. What is this? The players are really finding ways to make things interesting for us.
So take on g5?
It's still a draw, but it's extremely. I don't like that, Robert.
Yep. Now there are 2 pawns going.
Uh-oh. Wait. What? Why was this necessary?
I'm so confused. Go king e4. Wait. Now who's better and why? Wait.
White is winning. Bishop c1. Bishop c1.
Oh, time! No way! He went from winning to losing on time.
Oh, Bishop c1 is just winning, I think.
Oh my gosh! It might not even be winning, but it's definitely not losing.
Oh, we still get a decisive result. It's 5-5.
No draws allowed.
Oh my gosh, that's 10 decisive results. I think the most we've ever seen in a junior speeches championship is a tie with 23 total. We already have 10. We're not even halfway through.
Oh my! I think that's the connection, right? I mean, it looked like it had 4 bars to me, but oh my gosh!
All right, so Sarana comes back from 5-3 to 5-5. He himself is now on a 3-game winning streak. That is the longest. Oh no, excuse me. 2-game streak. So the longest winning streak we've seen was 3 games. It's when it went from 3-2 to 5-3. But Sarana's back in it. It's a brand new match. Do you believe in momentum in 3-1? Is momentum a thing?
I'm still in shock from that game. I'm still looking at Esipenko, and he hasn't moved from his very far away seated position here. Oh, he did just shake his head, though. So he didn't like something that just happened.
Yes.
But I think he can move closer. Like when you get time scrambles, I think it's good to be sitting upright, and that way you have full mouse control.
Twitch chat is making me crack up. Someone just said, not fair. This match is unfair because Esipenko is also posing for a painting.
It does look like he is posing for a painting. That's really fun.
He's been completely still. That is really, really something. It's just he hasn't moved.
In the background too, it looks like it's already been painted, like it's kind of perfect. They look like they're in the same house potentially, just on a slightly different rooms. Yeah, one's in the kitchen, one's in the bedroom, just like hanging out. All right. Well, wait, wasn't bishop f6 followed knight takes d5 a free pawn? No, maybe it wasn't. I take it back.
I don't know why, but yeah. h5. Okay, so is h5 a tilt move, or is it objectively the best way to play the position? What is this h pawn attack? What do you think?
It actually feels like a pretty good way to play, but there's no real attack either. So he's going to go g6. There it is. King g7 at some point, rook h8, but there's no attack there. Your d5 pawn is potentially vulnerable. The c7 square will always need defending because the knight on f4 removes the knight on e6 from his defense. But king g7, here he comes. Rook h8 next.
Man, he has been really bold with his pawn moves, right? Like it's...
I would play rook e7, but...
Well, there you go.
And I would think about playing queen a3 at some moment for white. It looks like a really bad move to double isolate your pawns, but the queen is very useful in the defense for black. And after the queen trade, your c7 pawn is weak. It is a backwards pawn. It's a target. My knight can go from d3 to e5 or b4, something like that if necessary. So there it is.
Wow.
Now I might queen d8. I might avoid it.
Robert Hess playing verbal guess the move. If you want to play guess the move, you can play it by watching this game live on Chess.com. But saying it will not actually play it. Sorry.
Is that true? I feel like queen d8 played. I feel like I'm guessing the moves. Come on.
Okay.
I
now what, G5? Is G5 something?
G5 is definitely happening here. And it looks good for black. Knight d3, knight e4.
I like it.
Oh!
Wrong way.
You ruined my guess the move.
Wait, Robert, what is the point? To defend c7?
Yeah.
Queen d6, queen h6, queen d6, queen h6. Looks like.
Queen d6, there might be knight takes d5.
Oh, there might be knight takes.
No, then bishop d5, queen d6, bishop f3, and mate on h1.
Oh, that's disgusting. Robert Hess. All right, Robert Hess, go take a shower. That is absolutely filthy. Knight d5, bishop d5, queen d6, bishop f3. Is that really? That's inhuman. That is inhuman.
That would have been awesome.
Oh my God, that would have been awesome. I'm almost upset we didn't get it on the board. That's okay. Now I need to recover. I'm in shock from that tactic. That is filthy.
And knight c6, I think, played a move later than necessary. The queen should have been on a3, offering the queen exchange. Wait, what? Knight takes c7, knight f5 check. What is knight e4? What was that? Yeah,
I'm confused. Did he think he had like?
Do you see the live stream?
Yeah, it's Bob Ross, baby.
That's so good.
Oh man, he is looking off to the side. He's very confused what he overlooked here. Maybe he thought knight g3, but queen e7 now. Yeah, okay. He must have just blundered here. I'm not so sure what happened. Well, we might be witnessing the beginning of tilt a little bit.
I like what Esipenko is doing, though. He's not, he wasn't trying to just lose on time and waste time, but what he was trying to do is gather himself. He still barely moved in the seat, but you could see him shake his head a little bit and just like calm down and just, relax. Okay, I have white in the next game. I'm only down by 1 point. Anything can still happen in this match. There's 45 minutes left, a 3-minute, plus all the bullet that's still to come. So he needs to just gather his bearings here.
Yes, I do just want to say that this is also the first time we've seen a kingside fianchetto in the knight f6 position with the queen's pawn. And so the game will take on an entirely new feel. This is sort of Grunfeld-esque. You won a nice Grunfeld game at the New York International, I remember. It was this bishop f4, rook c1 thing. Was that against Mark Paragua?
Oh, yeah. I was like, wait, I won a good game? What happened? Yeah, you're right, though.
Yeah, I remember watching that game going, damn, Robert's got game.
I actually won the best game prize, like technical prize or whatever from the tournament for that.
For that game?
Yeah.
Okay. Flexing on all of us. I like it.
I only thought about it because you mentioned, I didn't even remember I played the game, but now that you mentioned it, I'm like, okay, well, I won a little bit of cash for that best game prize. So anyway, back to the chess. What's going on here?
I like what Black's done to the queen side actually quite a bit. Generally, I have to play these positions with white, Grunfeld-esque positions with the bishop on g7 and a large central pawn mass, but this outpost on b4 looks very promising. The pressure on b2, very promising. I like black here.
I think white missed something, by the way. Like when c6 was played, couldn't he just take it on c6? Wasn't that just good? But that's another story altogether. I was scrolling back and looking at him like that looks wrong. It's the right idea, but not at the right time.
Just quick digression while white thinks, everybody. Get involved with the daily question, which is who will be the next Russian World Chess Champion? If you want to get involved on Twitter with any Speed Chess Championship event, we've got 3, obviously, junior women's and the standard one, the Open Speed Chess Championship. Hashtag Speed Chess. Who do you guys think it's going to be? Who do you think? I think that Kasparov is going to make another run for it.
I think Dubov is already a world chess champion because he's the world rapid chess champion. Oh, look at me go, cheating.
Yep.
That counts.
He's a world champion. Yep.
That definitely counts. So Artemiev would be a pretty good guess. If
No, I have a guess for you. I think it's going to be Mikhail Osipov. Do you know who that is?
yeah, the little kid.
Yes, the little kid on the show where he played Karpov, and he like knew the Nimso Indian when he was 3 years old. I still don't know the Nimso Indian, and I'm 23 years old. So this kid's onto something. I think that's who's good. I don't even know how old that kid is. He might be like 6. But
He's now 15. Is that right? There must be multiple Mikhail Osipovs.
Yes.
Because there's a 15-year-old rated 1100 with that name. So
yeah, I don't think that kid is 11. Yeah, I don't think he's 1100.
Yeah.
I think he's 5. So, Robert, I really do think the tilt is upon us. It's going to take something very of a high level of poise, I would say, to stop the bleeding here. This is Alexey Sarana's 3rd win in a row, right? He's out of the gate in the 3-1 portion of the match with 2 games already. He's won 2 games. He's just up a clean pawn here and up a full minute on the clock. What do you do? How do you gather yourself mentally? Do you change your openings? Do you start playing a different style than you've been playing? Or do you just see it out to its conclusion?
Well, it's weird because he's playing very slowly as well. Like he missed that tactic with pawn takes c6 that I mentioned that we didn't get to show, unfortunately. But it sounds very obvious. He just needs to play better because even this last move, rook d to c1, was a bad move. He did a bad position, but he can't actually take this queen back because if he takes with the knight, he loses rook on c3. And if he takes with the rook, he loses his rook on c1, then his knight on d4, it hangs once the trade of c1 happens. So, like, he's sitting up now. Okay, first step to success.
Beautiful. I like it. The position of the sitting has changed.
Oh, he's up.
Yeah, here we go. Busting out some Catalan. Okay, the first Catalan of the day. This is what I like to see. We've got dc4. Let's see if he can stop the bleeding. How do you feel about these Catalan main lines? How well versed are you? A6. Okay, he goes for b6. I know nothing about b6 actually. I know a6, and that's
b6 is the calm version. b5 is one of the more hectic versions, and a6 is the mainline theory for a million years that I'm sure Peter Leko has played 7 million games in. And this particular line I think is totally fine for black, but especially if someone like Gadakomsky is the white pieces, you're just really sweating it out here. But the problem for black is you push this pawn to b6, which means your light squares in the queen side are always vulnerable. And that's why a6 is typically, as was just played, a move you do as black to cover b5. But what that now does is make the b6 square more weak, right? Anytime you touch a pawn, the square that it was originally covering is now inherently more vulnerable. And so what Sarana is working for here is looking for eventually a knight a4. Okay, bishop b6 takes on the dark squares. I think black is okay for the time being.
Yep.
And probably just equal, honestly. Maybe even better now. Take on d6 with knight e5, and then play knight c4. Like just do something like that. Okay, white's gonna play f4 to stop it. So now my idea is ruined. Now white's gonna play e5.
Yeah, just e5. Yeah, white is doing very well. Oh man, it was so close. We might be witnessing a wind of change here for.
It's amazing how it goes from being totally fine to being totally terrible in like 3 moves.
Yeah, absolutely. Knight c5, Robert. Knight c5. Hold on. Knight c5, and then maybe some chances. Because if knight c, okay, I don't know what the heck that is.
He's gonna go knight f6, knight f5, and that way h3 g4 doesn't kick his knight out forever. But your idea is good, Levy. Knight c5 is definitely something to play soon.
I like knight c5 because after bc, you have pressure on the b file. Maybe I don't know. I could have been off, but knight c5 here.
Yep. Play b5. I like that.
Okay, I'm gonna stop saying that. I've been confused many times today.
Well, the reason why I went b5 is what's this knight at c3 gonna do? Right, the knight at c3 wanted to go to d6, and now knight a4 is what I would play to make sure the knight doesn't get to d6 so easily. Yeah,
knight a4. It's pretty logical, even though you're gonna potentially double your pawns on the a file. The pressure from the rooks is going to be pretty annoying. I don't like that move.
Oy.
Can you go for knight c6? Is that just... You don't have to. I'm just saying, like, you could also play knight e4, knight d6, right? Knight e4, knight d6 looks good.
Yeah, knight e4, knight d6. Knight c6 is a nice tactic. Actually, I wouldn't even consider it. But after knight c6, take rook d7. I guess I can just go king to f8 and say, you got my rook, my knight, you got your rook on the 7th rank, and there he goes. But maybe that actually helps black to a degree, because my knight comes to f5, and now it threatens knight e3. Ooh, why was the king on e8? Don't like that at all.
Yeah, now it's susceptible to a lot of d6 and f6 stuff. But what do you do for white? I mean, knight e3 is a problem. Okay, split king f3.
Mm-hmm. So, no, rook c4 might be possible here. Because rook c4, if you go g4, I have knight h4 check, knight g2 check, kind of like weird back around the board.
Yes, this does make a lot of sense. King has to hang on to the defense of this. Yep.
And b4 is under attack. Well, now g4 just looks excellent.
Yeah, g4 just looks very strong. What exactly was the point of rook c8? I don't understand.
Me neither. It runs into knight d6 check in most of these lines.
And also, in a lot of these positions, if the rook is ever off the back rank, you're just getting mated. Like, right. If the king... Well, I mean, obviously, if the king is on f8, it's still the same back rank problem applies, but the king on e8 does not look great.
Yeah, and if knight e7, you just go rook a7. Right, that's the whole plan. Yeah, rook a7 here, followed up with knight d6 check. You can't go knight d6 immediately because you lose your rook on d7 in the process. So there's rook a7, and not only is knight d6 check a big threat, rook h1 to h8 mate is also going to hurt. But knight d6 check wins an exchange on the spot.
Knight d6 is, yeah, wow. And d7 is a problem. Can you even, where do you move the king? I mean, f2... But to be honest, I wouldn't even be surprised if moving to e4 is possible. I don't see how you're getting mated, but maybe you will have to repeat at some point. So he just needs to find safety, and that will be that.
Yeah, go king g3, king h4, and no more checks. You might go king e4 as well.
We'll see. Just don't repeat. That would be tragic.
But Ben Feingold says always repeat.
Yeah, but it's Ben Feingold. I mean. You got to find a good source to take your advice from, I would say. Okay. Like I take my advice from you.
Oh, look at you sucking up to me right now.
So there you go.
Okay, rook d4 offering to trade. You don't really want to trade, but where else is your rook? You can go rook c2 is probably going to play f5. Looks problematic all around.
Everything here looks problematic. This is a game that if they both had about 15 seconds, this is prime example of when you can accidentally mess something up. But even a move like rook e1 here does not change anything, because the pawn on d6 is too advanced, the rook on a7 is too powerful, and the king on e8 is too suboptimal, I would say.
Yep. Rook e1 check, king d4, rook d1 check, king c5, and your king just does a dance with that pawn on d6 and helps it promote.
Yeah.
No good. So
yep.
And Esipenko is sitting back in his chair now again. He needs to just right the ship. Even if it's just one draw. We had 0 draws in this match. Right? The draw is too much to ask for. But what we need from Esipenko, or what he needs, I should say, is just to make one draw, stop the losing, and then just play chess.
Yeah.
He's probably also exhausted. I mean, he played such a long game today.
But it's true, and 3-1 is entirely different than 5-1. I mean, those 2 minutes really, really matter. But I am surprised at the full level difference. That there have been some very clear, like I would say, changes in his play. So, well, okay, he'll be down 3 games. Alexey Sarana was down 3 games as well. So it happens. It's not over, and.
Sarana was down 3 games?
Excuse me, no. He was down 2 games. I was saying he was only down 2 games.
Yeah.
2 games, 3 games. It's a game. It's just one.
Yeah, it's only a game, right? Just one.
Yeah, just win. Look at this wallpaper change.
Wait, something's happening now.
I love it. Yeah, something is happening. This D-pawn is about to go advance. Uh-oh, what's going on?
On black and yellow? Is that what's happening right now? But what is happening here? It looked easily winning for white. And now it doesn't look so easily winning.
I think it's back to being easily winning.
What if I just put my king on b7? Yeah, like what?
I just come back, right? King b3.
I guess, yeah, nice. I forgot your king is going to come all the way back.
Kings are allowed to move backwards chess. It's something that you guys can just learn today. Welcome to Junior Speeches Championship, where we also learn how pieces move. Hashtag Chess Kid, baby.
Yeah, then it is sponsored by Chess Kid. We got to teach. And this rook and this king are too far up the board and just resigned. Didn't even want to play it out.
And from 5-4, this is the longest winning streak. This is the 13th decisive game in a row. This is really something. These guys are up to something. Are onto something. This is really
the B3 tilt. Speaking of, up to and onto something, things aren't going well when you just all of a sudden switch to B3 and it's not bullet time yet.
That is true. It wasn't even B3 after knight f3. It was just B3 on the first move. So I will be very impressed with the poise of Andrey Esipenko. Question for you.
Yeah.
Do you think a bad result in this match will affect him in classical, or do you think they're completely unrelated? Do you think
that's a great question? And the reason that question is so kind of important right now is that Esipenko is in the middle of a classical tournament, right? If he lost this game, or this match, I should say, and then played a tournament 2 weeks from now, you can shrug that off pretty easily. But he's to go back to the chessboard tomorrow or the day after and play, I don't know, Artemiev, and then play Fedoseev, and play whoever else he has to play. I don't remember the last pairing.
Yes.
But that's not really easy. And it is hard to shrug it off as much as we want to say, oh, it's only blitz, it's only this. But they care a lot because the prize fund is big, substantial prize fund, the qualifier spot in the Speeches Championship, the qualifier spot for the Isle of Man, Grand Swiss. There's a lot to play for here.
There is a lot to play for. Winners of the entire Junior Speeches Championship event, everybody, get a spot to that Isle of Man Grand Swiss we talked about. But also, we do have a prizes graphic, which I think is my favorite graphic. Not because I see myself winning those prizes, but because this is big money. I mean, you sit down for 3 hours, you play some blitz chess, and you have a chance to win $400. Then 400 is split based on win percentage. And okay, this match has been relatively close, and the closer it stays, that even the loser will get paid. Ultimately, over the entire season, there are $20,000 worth of prize. That's big money.
Yep.
That's exciting stuff.
Yep. And
I would even play Robert in some blitz. He would crush me, but if I get paid for it, I'm down. I love it.
Come on, you would pay to play me in blitz. Let's be real for a second.
Are we the Union Square guys now? I like knight d4, by the way.
Me too. Nice little trade-off of pieces here.
Well, that is. Oh, I flinch at c3. I don't like it. Might not be so bad, but I don't know.
It looks not great. What if I take on e4 with my knight and then retreat my bishop to f6? That way I stop you from playing c4.
That was my idea, and the only alternative that white has is to play cd4, but that doesn't improve your b2 bishop at all.
That seems risky.
It goes with e4? Okay, this is probably the same thing. Yeah, and now just queen e4, bishop f6. You flip the script completely. Your bishop is much better here.
Yeah, this once again looks better for Sarana. I mean, every game we've been saying that in the last bunch of games. He's won 5 straight. Looking not good.
Wow, that's not pretty. Oh, I like knight d6, Robert, to go to c4. I mean, this is also fine, but...
Yeah, he probably didn't want to allow pawn to d5, right? So he just was going to park a pony there and say your bishop on b2 is not good.
Yeah.
But I actually like the long-term chances for white here. I think black is objectively better. But as the game continues, I'm going to start liking white because if black does nothing, then there goes the bishop. Exactly. Yep. Okay, rook c8. Just made c8. I think it's over.
Wow. Rook c8, yeah. And queen d6.
Yep.
Wow. So his only move there would be rook 6 d7 and queen b8, and just queen b8, right? Excuse me, queen b8, there's some maybe queen d1 stuff. What is the way?
You get one check. Enjoy it while it lasts.
Queen b8, queen f6.
Also, there's bishop g5, just like hitting your rook because you can't go f6 and e6 is falling with check once the rook goes to d7.
Oh, that's nasty.
Okay, can you believe how quickly this turned? It was like, okay, black's better. Oh, wait a second, black's totally lost in like 4 moves.
Yeah, wow. It's just tactics. Oh, actually, my statement was incorrect. It would not be rook 6 d7 because rook d7 from the other way is illegal. So this is just rook d7. There we go. There we go. Just queen b8. Wow, 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 wow. Good. Tightest turning. I like a close match. That's also going to be 14 straight wins or losses, depending on if you're a pessimist or an optimist.
Do you like free rooks?
Yeah, I'm so... Wait, what? Queen d6? Is he just making him find it?
He might go bishop takes h6 instead to gain another pawn before playing queen takes d6.
But what? Wait. why is he not taking the rook on d6? Is he just slowing down for a moment?
Yeah. Maybe he's savoring the taste of victory.
I'm very perplexed why rook d7 at least wasn't played. I didn't see the exact refutation. Bishop g5 was obviously... Okay, he just...
Yeah, bishop g5 was probably the refutation.
Okay. Cool. There we go. 8-6, baby. All right. The 4-game winning streak is ceased. Sarana shakes his head. We're 26 minutes to go in the 3+1. That's maybe 4 or 5 more games, depending on the increment, depending on how long the games go. And I'm pumped. That's what I like to see. We came here to see a match.
Oh, and we got your line.
Yes.
We're seeing different openings in most of these games. I mean, obviously,
every game.
The first moves are starting out a little similar because that's how chess works. But then we're getting some differences here. Queen c8.
Yeah, that's a move, right? Because you're going for c5 and defending
exactly.
d7.
I know, like, or prefer, I should say, the knight b8 to d7 to b6 line, or knight c6 immediately. But this line also is playable. Bishop f4 is thematic, hoping that black takes. There it is. Hoping that black takes you on f4. So when you play g takes, some people might think, oh, doesn't that weaken your king because you're taking with the g pawn? But you're improving your control over the center, especially the e5 square. And okay, Levy, this is actually instructional moment. Knight c3 was a bad move. Knight d2 was a much better move.
Mm-hmm. To prevent c5.
100%. Because knight d2 would go to b3, and you're just playing against c5. And the reason it's so important to play against c5 is exactly what you're seeing on the board right now. All of black's pieces are working perfectly. If you can't play c5 and you have a queen on c8, your rook on a8 doesn't get into the game. Your pieces are stepping on each other's toes.
And not to cut you off, but e5 is the full product of that for black.
Oh gosh, this is not good.
It's amazing how junior speed chess championship matches work. I mean, we do see this in speed chess championship as well, but younger players, right? Like they just. It's not necessarily criticizing the composure. It's just so fascinating that once one person just wins a game, what that does for their confidence, what that does for the way they play. Everything that you said. Your Catalan bishop is gone. The pawn structure you cemented with E3, F4, F2 lost all its power because no central control. And this is white just trying to bail somehow, but this is just completely lost for white.
Yep. This is not good at all. And I saw someone in the game chat reference Rita Ora's falling to pieces, which I thought was funny. That's what's happening in this game. Knight h4 check, game over. You can't go king g3 because knight f5 check happens.
Oh, and that's it.
Oh, maybe you have king f1.
King f1, queen
c4 check or b5. Queen c4 check, yeah.
I like queen. Yeah, I like queen b5 covering the back rank, but queen c4 also makes sense. I was just trying to figure out what's going on, so...
He's going to play.
I like to be part of history. If we get the most decisive games in a row, I'll be excited.
What just happened? It was all Sarana, and now it's just like immediately. Oh, what a greedy guy! Is Yasser watching this somewhere? Yasser, he's a pawn grabber here.
Wow, Robert, I know what team Andrey is going to play on next year in Pro Chess League.
Well, hopefully New York Marshals, but if not, the Pittsburgh Pawn Grabbers seem to be a decent choice, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so how many pawns is black up? Just 2?
Feels like 4, but yes.
Can you just play knight f4 and if rook g1 take on g1, play rook c1 mate? That looks pretty good.
Yeah, there's a lot of different variations you can calculate when you're completely winning that all excite you. It just gets fun, you just like possibilities all over the board.
Yep. Just don't move your knight from g6, because then knight e7 check is the problem.
So rook g1 is good, and you still have to win this with black.
Queen c6 runs in. No, queen c6 worked actually. I love king h8 though. It's one of those moves where you're just being safe and you're just like, don't fall for any cheapos and 97 check, none of that kind of thing, and just moved away. Because rook takes g6 was a threat before king h8.
But you should really, in my opinion, try to finish this off before it gets to a messy time scramble, right? Because 30 seconds on the clock, so long as there's enough material, stuff can go wrong. We've seen it happen. But have we seen a match have not a match, but a single game in this match have an enormous turnaround? Or has every advantage kind of concluded the way it was supposed to? I think we haven't seen any plot twists.
We've seen, I think, some turnaround. I'm trying to remember. Sarana, I think, had a tough position in one game, and he fought back to win it. But you're right. Generally speaking, the side that is ahead from the early stages tends to end up victorious.
I find it really interesting. Yeah, like I don't remember us being like, what? I can't believe that happened. There's been games.
It was the game where he lost on time.
Yes. Sorry, that was the only game. Where we had like a big plot twist.
And the first game where it was like dead even in that rook end game, and then he just like lost because of time trouble.
Yeah, that's true.
But you're right. I mean, didn't feel like there's like, oh my gosh, they blended their queen in one move and the game's over and they were completely winning. So we'll wait for Bullet for that.
Oh yeah, I mean 1+1 we're going to be going crazy. The last stream Robert and I did together, everybody, was the Bullets Championship, and we had some moments where we were screaming at the screen. Nice and exciting.
Yep, I'm resting my voice just for that occasion.
Exactly. I haven't like gotten too pumped yet. I just want to see Blitz chess for now, but 1+1 will be hype.
So what move now is good? Of the many good moves, what's the best?
What wins the fastest? Queen g4 with knight f4 ideas.
Queen g4.
Queen g4.
Rook g3, I guess, will be the response.
Knight f4, king h2, and you're just surviving, I guess, right?
Yep. No, that's a good move. Just don't take with the rook back on d4.
Yes.
Rook e8 mate would have been painful.
This is good match strategy, though, from Sarana. He's taking like 2 or 3 minutes off the full clock. He is winning, as we see, and this is still somewhat of a game. Esipenko only has 20 seconds. Like, he needs to still find a way to win it.
It's true. Now he has like queen c8 check. Throw a check on the diagonal, and okay, well, now he stopped it. I was gonna say his white would love to play h5 himself, but with the pawn h5 now for black, you can play g6. Your king feels much safer. No issues whatsoever. The rook is not coming over to g6 instead of playing pawn to g6, so that's also good.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Rook g6 is good. Okay, rook e5. No, rook g3. Gotta play, I guess.
It looks pretty losing. Rook g3, I just take, and
yeah.
The ending is lost, but you can do something, or you can just resign.
No. Let's take like 20 more seconds off the clock. Why not?
Why didn't you? Queen d1. There it is. Go to g4 after rook e1.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, but it's still a queen endgame, and if you get Esipenko under 30 seconds, then okay, he's also won 2 pawns. Uh-oh.
But here comes the b pawn.
Here comes the b pawn, but you can just make this a little annoying for the queen f2, and there's no way to win the pawn. King h7 is very nice. Okay, it's over. Nice. Queen f5 is basically the perfect square. Trying his hardest, and that's it.
That was cheeky. g4, hoping it's a queen. Because one of those positions where you can pre-move getting a queen, since white couldn't stop it, but then if g4 happens, it's a nice little attempt to win the other queen.
And there he is. Esipenko comes closer to the screen. He's at 7. We've got 15 decisive results. And, Rogozin. This queen a4 line, I like it very, very much. The very recent game that was played, although I suppose it's already June, but Rajabov versus Vidit, right, from Tata Steel. Exciting Rogozin game. I like this queen a4 line.
Yeah, that game was pretty crazy.
I had a game pretty similar, actually, against my friend, Ostrovsky. We played in a round robin here in New York, and rather than drawing like friends, we went at each other, and I played that line and got a kingside attack. So this is a different way to play the Rogozin. Move 7, black goes for b6. Honestly, if you put this game in the database on move 10, I would not be surprised if there's less than 10 or 15 games very modern theory in these positions. But the structure, whoa, bishop f3.
What's going on here?
You like this for white, these double pawns bishop pair.
I love the bishop pair, and I always look at the queen side. They see your pawn's on b6, and it's not that I even want to put my bishop on g2. In endgames, I want to put my bishop on a6 and take over the c file. But obviously, we're a long way away from the endgame, and I'll probably have to go f4 and bishop g2 and play more methodically. But yes, I'm a big fan of white's position here.
Ooh, g5. Statically, maybe slightly struggling, so he goes for the king side attack.
Bishop g2 for sure.
Just bishop g2, completely ignore it?
No, maybe f5. No, but f5 you can just take, can't you? No, then I have bishop g2. I'm so confused. I'm taking your line now.
Yeah.
I'm confused.
As Danny Wrench once said, they don't pay me enough to do advanced commentary on this position.
Yeah, that's why when he and I do it, he leaves me to do it. Yeah, this is a double-edged position because if the king slides over to h8, it's still extremely vulnerable there. But black at some point would then go rook g8, queen h4, and try to mate white first. So
checkmating first before you get checkmated is pretty good. It's a nice excuse not to play games of copycat.
Yep. f4 here looks pretty good. You just need to protect your king. And f4 allows your bishop to go to e1 to g3 if needed for the defense.
h3.
Interesting. Clearly stopping knight g4.
Yeah, but now like black seems in time. Was h3 that required of the position? I feel like white might have had something better.
I agree.
Felt like a position where white needed to play maybe a little bit more concretely. Okay, so what if you just take on c1 now, take stakes, and do your plan, just king h8?
I think white will go king f1, bishop f3, king e2, and just claim that the king is safe in the center.
Delayed bomb cloud, I'd love to see it. King f1, bishop f3, that is... Are you a defensive specialist or something? You were when we played. That was defensive specialization. That was really... I was like blown away. Robert kept finding moves that I was like, Jesus, can you just stop?
You know, when I was whatchamacallit, when I was growing up, my coach Miron Sher, in the old school Russian, taught me like a lot about just these defensive wizards like Khomov and people like that. So I do have an affinity for it.
I think defending it is a fascinating concept. It's such an underappreciated skill. Honestly, in a lot of fields, right? Basketball included. You know, both basketball fans, but chess as well. Like a good defender in a tactical position, even a strategic one potentially. Like for example, I was just thinking of a move here. Like it's probably terrible, but knight d7 with the threat of queen f3 and 85. If it didn't weaken the king so much on bishop c3, right. Knight d7 is an interesting move. Rook g1.
So if you're white, you just like queen d3, offer a queen trade, and win the endgame, because the endgame is going to be very good for you. Your king is much closer to the queen side, where all the action is really going to take place. You have the two bishops. Your bishop on f3 sort of dominates the knight on f6. And so I would probably play a move like queen d3. I may I'll do it later. But I would like to play queen d3, trade the queens, and just go for an endgame win.
The more pieces you trade, the minor piece endgame will be very nice for white, because of the bishop pair. Oof. We see more pawn grabbing, this time not from Esipenko, but from Sarana. And what do you do with your bishop?
Good questions. Queen c7 comes next, and if you go bishop d6, I go queen c6, and I win b6. So that's an outside pass pawn with a bishop pair. Not good.
Yeah, that's very... He goes bishop f8.
That might be a good move.
Okay, queen c8, I don't understand.
I mean, queen c7, might be hitting everything, right? Just hit all the pawns.
Yeah. That's quite smart.
Queen c6. But now I can... No, I can't. I want to go knight g4 somehow and just like counterattack. Oh, that move I don't like. Now your queen c8 move looks good. Oh, queen c8. If you go king g7, bishop takes d5, your pawn's pinned.
Oh, that's very nice.
Oh my gosh, the geometry. I didn't even mean to do that. I just want to get... Oh,
he missed it, but still he's doing quite well, right? Bishop c3? No?
Bishop c3, there's queen g4 check.
Queen g4 and queen g7, maybe.
Yep.
Wow. Yeah, Sarana shakes his head. Oh, no. Well, Sarana shakes his head, but I think it's more of that he doesn't like his position.
Yeah, I don't think he sees the defense.
Yeah, I was a little bit... Whoa. Oh, wait.
Okay. Bishop c3, there's queen h6.
Well, white has a draw, right? Can't white just bail here?
Yes, but I would play for a win because I play bishop c3, queen h6 only move, then I go queen d8 takes d5 and just play for a win. Here it goes.
Gotta love it. No draws. That was the closest we had to a draw. Probably all match because it was literally on the board, queen d8, queen g5. And instead, we're still playing chess. You gotta love the fighting spirit.
Yeah. No, this has been a fun match. And I think Sarana's really worried because this is the type of position where you don't have a lot of time on the clock. You just lose. You just totally, make a one-move blunder. And here, queen d4 is a nice move. Because of queen g7 now, you have to worry about, can I go b5? Actually, b5 is a really annoying move. At some point, play b5 and try to take over the queen side and hit this b6 pawn. So actually,
I think b5 was like almost
Zugzwang?
Yeah, I don't know what. Maybe black just has to go h5 in that position. Just
okay. Can you take? No. If you take that, it's probably a draw.
Maybe now you can just repeat. I don't know if we're gonna get repetition, but and there it is.
Oh, we got a draw.
The record is not broken.
Boo.
Finally, a draw. The players don't care about that. They just care about preserving. Oh, are we gonna get this interesting new line? No, we're not. Knight c3 and queen c2 is a good way to play here, but interesting. So Esipenko goes for this double Indian. This is becoming very trendy, and I actually like these positions for black. They're interesting. That's probably the best way I can describe it. This early d5 move creates some spice in the position.
Am I allowed to boo the players when they make a draw, or does that mean?
I feel like you're buying into the chess stereotype, but you know what? You could just do it. I don't care.
Yeah, I mean, I just want, like, that game, there's still a lot of life left, and I just wanted to see it come, to a different conclusion.
I really feel like we should address that chess is just turning into one giant draw, and it's a shame that we've had such a boring match today with so many draws between the players. Like no desire to fight. There's just,
gosh, they just don't. They're not here for the fans.
I mean, if I wanted to see this much drawing, I would just enroll in art school or something.
You really would pay more attention to Bob Ross if that were the case.
Yeah. I don't do that. Your thoughts on Queen's Indian positions where white sacks a pawn but gets this d6 blockade? I like them for white, but that's because I'm altruistic, I'm a generous man, and I like to give away pawns. But
I actually had a really nice game against Krikor like many years ago on the white side of this kind of position where I sacked the pawn and then got a huge initiative and I beat him in like 2011. And actually, I like it. I think that I like even both colors, honestly. I think it's just such unclear territory where white is down a pawn right now, but has control over many squares. Like knight d5 here is a move that I would consider. Pawn b4 is another move I would consider. Pawn f5, as was just played, of course, is something to keep in mind. And you can sort of keep sacking and hope it works. On the other side.
What is? Oh, that's such a nice move.
Oh, didn't even see that coming.
Wow, a knight e3 and the backwards hitting on. Oh, okay. Wow. Sarana completely misses this. Now after knight d6, all the benefits of his position are completely gone. He does have kingside pressure, but this knight on d4 is just...
Yeah, he definitely doesn't have enough pressure. Knight d6? What was that?
Hello?
Yeah.
Wait, I just take everything on g6. Just knight g6.
That looks good.
Oh, no. Wow, what a face. Look at Alexey's face. He's just completely disinterested. He's saying, oh, whatever.
He just forgot about that move.
Oh, look at that face. He just sighs.
So what's happening here? Knight g6 knight g6 you can't allow a discovered check, right? Bishop takes d6 or something, runs into knight e5, knight f7 mate. So that doesn't work. I was like trying to find the mate. I was like, oh, where is it? But knight e5 check would seal the deal. And if you take on g6 and I block with my bishop on g7, you can... What? Oh, okay, there's no knight f7 mate. What am I talking about?
So knight e7, king h8.
No, knight e7, king h8 doesn't work. I think knight e5... Because after knight e7, king h8, what's your follow-up?
Yeah, I'm looking for that now. I don't see one. I see one.
I think just take the bishop. And after knight e5 check, king h8, do I have knight F7 and just take with the rook at F7?
Oh, Robert, maybe you have rook F7.
Ooh, that looks kind of nasty. So
rook F7, rook G8, rook H7, king H7, queen H5, king G7, queen G6, king H8, king H6, mate.
Ooh.
But we didn't get it.
This still looks really good, though, right?
Just to show that line. What was that? That was knight E5, king H8, rook F7. Maybe not required, but rook G8, rook H7, king H7, queen H5, and then some mate like this. Anyway, let's keep an eye out for what's gonna happen. Maybe rook F7 now. Rook F7, queen G8 though.
Yeah, hanging on by a thread there. Still good for white, but
Right.
don't
Good
really
is an understatement.
Yeah, knight E4 actually probably just wins. You're just removing the guard of the F7 square.
Yeah, that's brutal. Knight E4 and looks like it's over. It's a shame that he went for bishop E5, but it was a very messy position.
Yeah,
And knight C4 was, I guess it was very good. It looked very good. It looked interesting, but bishop takes C5 and just underestimating white's breakthrough on the king side. When in doubt, just sack everything, open the king up. There will probably be something.
Is that what they taught you?
That's what I taught myself, I guess. It's just chop, 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 boom, and things happen. But look, Sarana is thinking. It's not, well, A4, no. A4 looks kind of mean.
Oh my God, no, this doesn't work. I was going for nasty tactics that don't work. So he's going to do this, take, queen
This
G.
is just so stoic of a way to...
Queen F3 is so nasty because queen F6 mate, and normally you go queen G6 to stop the mate, but your rook on A8's hanging.
Yeah, that's so nice. You can't go queen G6, and it's just over.
And the other queen moves were not nearly as good. Like if you went queen F4, queen F5 instead of queen F3, then black would have had queen G6 and probably would have wiggled out. But right now it's just done because the rook on A8's hanging.
That's so nice.
That's nice.
Yep.
That's really nice.
So now, well, Esipenko, I don't know. What is the strategy? Okay, so he just thought about it a little bit, regathered himself, and then it was strange, though, because he is losing. He's down 2 games, so it would make sense to maybe go again, perhaps, but he just, maybe gathered himself, and we keep on rolling. It's now 9.5, 7.5, a very convincing scoreline from Sarana in this format after being outclassed in 5. I mean, I don't want to say outclassed, but he was beaten in the 5+1. We do have that head-to-head match prediction graphic. I don't know if we can pull that up for a moment because it was estimated that it would be 5-4 Sarana over Esipenko in the 5+1. Instead, Esipenko got the better of it. But it was predicted that it would be a very close 3+1. So it would be 5.5 to 4.5, also a 1-point favorite. Whereas it's 5.5, 2.5. So I guess if Esipenko can win this game, he matches that scoreline just a game off. They just didn't have another game to play. And it'll be curious to see what he comes up with in the bullet. But it is a 70-30 kind of split in win probability, and according to that graphic, it says that Sarana is supposed to win by little in every format, but it was back and forth. So,
yeah, for sure. And he's up +2 right now. That is what the prediction suggested it would be, maybe in a different way, with 5-4 in the 5-minute portion, and then +1 in the 3-minute portion. But he's been cruising in this 3-minute segment, and honestly, it's largely due to tilt. I think that if it had happened differently, where instead of Esipenko winning the 5-minute section, he'd said he lost the 5-minute section, he would have maybe played a little bit better in some of these 3-minute games. Of course, Sarana's played very, very good chess, but I definitely think that Esipenko needs to kind of get his head on straight here and gather himself as they enter the bullet portion, because what bullet ultimately comes down to is mouse speed and just kind of psychological and mental toughness. You just got to go with it, roll with the punches, because there's blundering in bullet, obviously, but unless you're totally losing the spot, you still have a chance to fight back, given that there's only 1 minute on the clock for both players. So what is going on in this one?
This is why exactly can I not just take on G4 and play E5?
Because I have queen H5 at the end, and if you go E4, D5 hangs with check.
Ooh, that is very nice. So takes E5, and if queen H5, which looks like it's causing some problems, E4 impossible. Queen takes d5. And you can't even play bishop e6 because you will also lose e4. Ouch.
Yeah.
All right. This is how I play my Londons. This might not be the objective best way, and against very good defenders, I generally run out of steam. But I've won some OTB games against master level players where I just play like f4, g4, h4, and swing for the fences and see what happens. Francis Ngannou of the London system is how I play.
I feel like this is. Didn't you have a game that was like Joel Benjamin's sort of similar, where you played a London and just went all forward on the king side?
Yes, that was in the Pro Chess League. That was in Pro Chess League against.
It was Joel, right? Joel Benjamin?
Yes. It was against. I was remembering the name of the team. It was in New Jersey Knockouts. It was before Montclair. It was the New Jersey representative.
Yeah.
But yes. I was actually even doing well in that game, but then I ultimately missed an opportunity, and he ended up winning. So, but yeah, this is how I play it. But that was a Trumpowski, H4 Trumpowski, which once you play H4, yeah, you've sort of set the pace for the game. And someone in Chess.com chat saying it perfectly, a volatile position, very volatile position.
Well, here some things are going to be pretty easy for white. Knight f3 feels self-explanatory. The knight's coming into e5 or to g5. There it is. I hate black's position, if I'm being honest here. I just think that white holds every single positive plan in this position.
This is also apparently going, unless there's a resignation or something in the next 90 seconds, excuse me. This is actually the last game of 3+1. I feel like it flew by, even though it was only 30-minute difference between 5-1 and 3-1. I felt like these games were intense. They really had our focus, and I don't like H6. I think that this could be a potential problem in the future. G6 is always juicy, right? For knight H4 ideas. I don't like this. But how will white prove it here? Like, first of all, what if I just go G5 and G6?
Yep, G5 looks totally crushing.
Yeah, they say don't push pawns where you're being attacked. Wow, that might not be bad, but does not strike me as the way to go at it.
He's just going to take on F5. Oh, wait, yeah, I'm hanging a bishop. No, you actually could take on F5 and play Queen G6. But now Rook F1. Like,
I'm so confused though. I mean, G5, I don't just break through, right? Okay, now he plays it. Of course, you cannot play a move like H5 with the hope of playing G6, everybody, because white will just go G6.
Right.
Queen G5 and Queen H5.
So Queen C3, Rook D1 is necessary, and
Bishop. Wow, black is getting counterplay, Robert. It feels like
Queen E2. I like that move actually. I was thinking Rook D1, but Bishop A4 was actually pretty annoying. So
what do you do if I just take on G5? Or are you mating me with the rooks on F77?
No, but my Rook on A1's hanging, so you have a tempo to get away with that. I guess I go Rook B.
Right.
Some kind of Rook AB1 feels right. What? Younger Rook? Oh my gosh, they both didn't see it. They both hung, the Rook on A1 was hanging.
Wait, I think on HG he pre-moves King G8. I think that was like the point. He thought about Queen H5.
Oh my gosh.
In his mind, he must have locked in on Queen on Queen H5 when King G8 is the only move. So, oh my God, that is terrible. Oh, wow, what is A6? White is now overwhelming. Wow, that was a moment there for Alexey. Like, Alexey obviously did not expect Rook G5.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to ask him that in the interview, because I mean that was just hanging rook.
Yeah. Wow.
Now it just looks totally busted.
This is, of course, anything can happen, but it doesn't feel like black has quite enough in this time scramble. But the queen is locked in on the bishop on D3, and maybe there's some chances.
The thing is, now white's up a pawn, so even endgames will be winning. All right, take on A6. Just give me all your pawns.
It's not wow, H4. Super afraid. I don't know why he didn't just take A6. He was concerned about.
Because this gives black counterplay. A4, A3 for black is going to be annoying to meet.
Oh no, he's got 6 seconds, Robert. King F4.
Oh, Queen E1.
Wait, what?
Counterattack.
Oh no, now he's got to go to.
Wow, that was a fortunate save right there.
That's it. Queen F3 is mate.
Go Queen G3 and then give it a lot of checks. Oh, Bishop G4. Bishop G. Oh, he found it. He's done. Queen E4 is
Queen force mate. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. What a game. What a game. That is a heartbreaking loss there. Instead of being down by 1, he is now down by 3, and he sits back. Wow, that is that is a tough one to swallow there, chat. We'll do our best to get over it, but it's a 3-game lead for Alexey Sarana, a crushing result in the 3+1. We'll take a quick break. We'll see you back for 30 minutes of 1+1 action. Don't go anywhere.
And here we have a chess prodigy's first win against a 2600. Black would be Alexey Sarana, or as I like to call him, Sarana. Apologies to Chevy Chase and Caddyshack. Be the pin, Alexey. Be the pin. In fact, the pin is already there. Now, this looks like a simple little puzzle. We just put pressure on the pin piece, like Fun Master Mike always says in his videos. But actually, there's so much more to it. In fact, I know I've said this a bunch. Might be my favorite tactic coming up of the whole lot. He plays e4. Okay, simple enough so far. But white has a counterattack possibility, queen c3. And suddenly the question is, where do we put our king? The open file is no bargain, since of course this rook could be headed here any moment. I don't believe the back rank is a bargain because queen c8 check at least picks off the knight. So Alexey decides to hide his king on h6. Okay, the problem though is that now, instead of being an open file or an open rank problem, we've got a diagonal problem. So queen to c1 pinning the rook. But Alexey goes ahead and captures the bishop, and pressure on the pin piece. This time it's white's turn to do it. This rook is in big trouble. It almost looks like black has blundered because after rook e7, knight c4. Okay, but in this position, there is a miraculous way for black to get out of the pin. In fact, you could just give away the rook and play with one extra pawn. It's not that easy of conversion. Now might be a good time to figure out what did Sarana do to be the pin. Well, he found the unlikely resource d2. Of course, if you take with the knight, then the pin is removed and rook takes e1 is curtained. So, gotta take with the queen. Now, what did that accomplish for black? Well, it allowed him this incredibly clever resource, queen to g2. And you can't really take the queen, because after rook takes rook check, king moves, either rook moves to e2, and of course black is just up a rook in the ending. So if we go back to queen to g2, white actually resigned, but wait, why not queen c1 to maintain the pin? Well, after queen c1, then would come queen to e4 check. That's why the queen rerouted herself through the g2 square and not, say, h2 or something. After queen to e4 check, king has to hide on a1, and then the very cool queen takes knight. And if you take my queen or if you take my rook, you get mated on the back rank. Whichever one you take, I'll just take the other one. Very cool escape from the pin by Alexey.
And welcome back, everybody, to this round of 16 Junior Speed Chess Championship matchup between Alexey Sarana and Andrey Esipenko. What you just watched, that was a little game analysis from the Chess.com server done by Mike Klein on a game that Alexey Sarana played. And all these cool animations and different learning tools for kids to learn chess are all available on the primary sponsor of the Junior Speed Chess Championship by Chess Kit. So if you're a coach in the chat, you're a kid in the chat, you're a parent in the chat, you're a dog or cat, and you'd like your owner, who is a kid in the chat, to get some chess under the belt, check out Chess Kit. They have done amazing things, and recently there was the Chess Kit Games as well, featured here on Twitch. And the winner, actually, Hans Diemen, and his partner, Hans Diemen in particular, will be invited for a qualification spot in the next Junior Speed Chess Championship in 2020. So it's very exciting. I think this Junior Speed Chess Championship, as well as the Women's Speed Chess Championship, are amazing additions. And they make chess more exciting and make the Twitch chess calendar something to look forward to. So having said that, Robert, you ready for some bullet?
Absolutely. And I just want to point out, you broke rule number 1 about Chess Kid Club. And rule number 1 is it's Fun Master Mike. Everybody loves Fun Master Mike. If you've ever been at the Nationals and seen Mike just chilling at his Chess Kid booth, everyone's like, Fun Master Mike, is that you? Oh my God, I recognize your voice. Can you sign my shirt? Can you sign my forehead? Like, Fun Master Mike is the most beloved figure in the chess universe, honestly, because all the kids just want to meet him and thank him for his videos. But the graphics are cool. Everything is all good. And I'm ready for chess. I want some bullet. I'm ready for this action.
And there you go. Your wish has been granted. I'm about to see Andrey Esipenko get off his phone and get up on the computer. So just to remind everybody what you're watching, this is part of the Speed Chess Championship series. This is the Junior Speed Chess Championship in particular. These two players just gave us 90 minutes of 5+1, 60 minutes of 3+1, and now conclude their head-to-head match with half an hour of 1+1 bullet. Obviously, the pace is significantly faster. Right now, Alexey Sarana has emerged from the first two segments of the show with a 3-point lead. I believe, according to the pre-match predictions, he was slated to have a 2-game lead going into the bullet, but he almost only had a 1-game lead because he had a 9.5, 7.5 advantage. And actually, the final game of the 3+1 was really dominated by Esipenko, who then, speaking of Sarana really pushing the advantage in this game, Robert. This is not looking good.
Yeah, the king and the queen, they've swapped places here, but it's a terrible situation. Black should have castled queenside when he could have, instead he tried to keep a pawn. Sometimes you just got to give away material, get your king safe. That's more important. And right now, well, his pieces can hardly move. His king is on the run. And is he going king a7 now? Is he just going all the way over? Or is he going to try to get active somehow with a move like, I don't even know what to do, d5 or c5 or something? Looks bad.
Yeah, this is not a great way to start. I've been keeping an eye on some of these women's and junior Speed Chess Championship matches to kind of see how bullet ultimately plays out, like the winner of the first 2 games. I am curious. Obviously, we might not have this stat at the moment, but what is the percent chance that you win the bullet portion if you win the first game, and even if you win like the first 2 games? Speaking of, knight g8 is just a beautiful move.
Yeah,
Like, give me some props.
That's a horsey they just promoted. Could always hit the other side of the board.
Yeah, now he just brings it back. Yeah, brings it right back. And there you go. Queen g7, knight b3, knight a5. It's just...
Do you think Sarana's up enough time on the clock? I mean, he's what?
40 seconds on the clock after 30 moves of chess. It's just disgusting. So bishop c4 and knight a5. And there we go.
Yep, that's all it takes.
Amazing. Amazing job. Yeah. If Sarana had a 3-game disadvantage going into the bullet, I would expect him to make a pretty decent comeback. I actually think that he might just be in better bullet shape. He's on a bit of an upswing after being down in the first 5-1 section. And okay, so letting the clock run out there is a pretty odd decision, though. I don't know what that was about. He needs as much time as possible, doesn't he?
Was Esipenko just working on a mouse? Did you see that? He looked like he was working on a mouse situation there, but he's in, he's zoned in, and why don't we take a look at, while we get this bullet match underway, at the best answer to the daily question about which Russian player was most likely to be the next world champion. And I see it here. Artemiev, because Vlads are great world champions from Russia, and we all need a new Vlad from Russia to appreciate chess properly. #SpeedChess. And that was Samuel Andrade at Essay Dassault.
Yeah, it's a pretty nice viewpoint there. I don't know if I agree or disagree, but you got to have an interesting explanation for your opinions, and I believe in that one. I also believe in White's position here.
Oh, yeah.
I like White's position quite a lot.
Knight d3 to go to c5 feels, there it is.
I thought a move ago was even stronger, yeah, before the knight got all the way around. But this is nice, because now bishop b2, queen b2, and dc is no good because knight c5 is coming.
Yep, and I know what you want to do, knight e5, knight g4, knight h6. I know you, Levy.
I'm not even going to lie. I did not even think of that, but now that you said it, I totally agree with it. I like it.
Wait,
Robert, I'm not good at maneuvers. I'm just good at bishop h6, queen g7, that stuff.
Okay. Well, this is, I've been playing some Bughouse lately. In fact, I have a stream tomorrow with Helm's Knight of playing Bughouse. Wow. So I'm just getting in the right mindset here. Okay, knight takes c6 wins on the spot. Because knight takes c6, I'm going to go knight e7 check, pretty much no matter what you do, and then rook takes c8 at the end.
Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah, the geometry works.
Queen d7, there's also rook d5, if you want to throw it in with knight e7. Yes, that works. Yep. Absolutely. Okay, he goes for rook c6. And this is... Then you could just do anything. You could move your rook back all the way. You can take on d5 if you like.
Yeah, rook d8 check, queen b2 check. Then just make love for your king.
Mm-hmm. Knight c3 is interesting bait. Oh, queen b2. That's
don't play rook c1, because rook c1, knight e2 check.
Yeah, rook c1, knight e2. A little bit of quick puzzles there. All right. Yeah, this is good for Sarana, because the longer he can draw this out before losing, it's really nice. Especially with the 1 second bonus and the pre-moves to follow. This will not take 40 seconds. This is what their time indicates. It'll take more like maybe a minute and a half, which is big when you only have 30 minutes to play. It's a full minute. So yeah, look at this.
Esipenko doesn't, the way he's using his time right now is worrying me. Not for this game. I still think he'll win this game for sure. But it's worrying me for future games because he's playing a little bit slowly and cautiously here. And that's often how you end up not winning completely one positions in bullet. But okay, he's going aggressive. Queen c7. Can you just take on... he's going to take on f7. And then play queen f8 check and something like queen g7, and that looked winning.
Doesn't go for it.
Okay, he'll go queen... Nope. Queen e7, protect h. Wow, he's getting all aggressive. Uh-oh, that doesn't look good.
Yeah, there's some chances now.
Queen e7. Wow, rook c1?
Uh-oh, Robert. Oh, man, that just holds.
e4.
Yeah, E4 there. Yeah. I just saw it as well. E4, he's trying to go for queen f8. Oh, you can't play g4. What do you do? Oh, this doesn't look okay. E2?
Yeah, E2. Queen F1 check. Okay, not.
Oh, that's it, right? Because
King G2. Is it draw?
The rook is hanging.
But then E5 was hanging with check. Rook G1 check. Go Rook G1. You're winning again. What is happening?
Oh my gosh, this is crazy. Queen B5, King H6, or that?
Wait, Queen takes G1.
Queen F4, no, Queen F4, Queen F4, or Queen G1, yeah.
No, this is winning for white again. This was the most back and forth game ever.
Oh wow, and that's it. You can't push anything.
Push him, baby.
Oh, and you have to be careful about E3. That's it. Oh man, what a game. That's it. Wow. Oh man, the player's reaction is probably This is bullet, baby. This is bullet.
I'm here for it.
Hey, I'm pumped. We got 22 minutes coming up. It's going to be amazing. And just one more thing, everybody. The next Speed Chess Championship coming up in the juniors division is Jeffrey Young versus Anton Smirnov. Both of these players relatively frequent online. Smirnov definitely more frequent of the two. That's going to be on Thursday, June 14th, 5 p.m. Pacific time. Slightly different time than normal, but I believe that one is going to be Danny Wrench and Mike Klein. We'll get the call for that one. So,
yep, Fun Master Mike making his presence felt. And here, well, White is making his presence felt on the queen side because White's pawn structure is intact, one pawn island. Black has two pawn islands, the 4 pawns from E to H files, and this isolated A pawn. Not to mention 2 bars of internet. Okay, went back to 4 now, so that's all good. But the queen side looks very bad for Black here. Just looks like an advantage for White, for sure.
Big advantage, I think, as you slowly mount the pressure. That's a nice move. What is preventing you from just slowly, like knight d4, queen c4, advancing the c pawn as well? Need to be a little careful of a move like e5, but I don't get it.
Yeah, maybe go for the open file, rook b8 instead of. But you have to admit your mistake that the rook on c8 is not really doing much because you're about to lose the a pawn. But if you have rook b8, you protect the a pawn with back rank checkmate ideas, and you can put your rook on b4 next. So it's a tactical way of making sure you don't lose your outside pass pawn.
Fun tactical way of defending. It's not going to happen. But if Black had g6 and king g7, then anytime you have a big trade and the rook comes to a4, Black has rook takes c5, which would have been just in time. But Black is just not quick enough. You can't play like g6, king g7. You're going to be losing. So he ends up just bailing like this. But all White has to do is play rook c1. And do you believe in milking the clock and bullet? Like you're winning, but just play forever? Or do you believe in winning as fast as you can?
There's 20 minutes left, so you just have to win the game because it's only a 3-game lead. And actually, this is super annoying with this knight b4, knight d5 stuff because now knight e7, and I'm going to go for e5 to kick your knight out.
Right.
King d6, tempo. Rook b8. Okay, he went knight c7. Same idea, but rook b8 was stronger, I think.
Now you can play forever. It feels, White. Yeah. This is a tough position. This is basically mentioned on every single broad. Oh, rook d7.
Rook d7. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and he doesn't even take. The knight is just flinging around. Oh, that's so nice. Knight d6 and c7, rook d8. I think he even had it a move earlier, maybe. How do you
finish? Kick that knight away.
He goes for this. This is okay. Yeah, convincing as well. Just winning 2 pawns. Probably
had better, but yes, this looks quite good, of course. Go knight c3 to e4. The knight in g4 can't get kicked out, which is super annoying.
Yeah, Danny mentioning in the chat as well that and what I was essentially alluding to is everybody talks about this in every single one of these kind of matches, but you don't like a game where you're just a little worse forever because you need to defend for 3 minutes, and that is exhausting. So rook f7, rook f,
yeah, he probably should have resigned.
Honestly, yeah, you should have maybe even resigned 25 moves ago because now, knight f6, knight e4, okay, or e4.
Yeah, this should have resigned a while ago to save time because
yeah, exactly. I'm not so sure he realizes maybe now he'll know. No, this is not. Yeah, the match strategy is an important side element, but he might just be playing for kicks.
4 games, and the bullet thus far has been in Sarana's favor. He's up 2-1, but it just feels like he's much quicker than the bullet. Esipenko has spent a lot of time in positions where I think he needs to move more quickly. And right now he's well over a minute on the clock, so off to a good start here. Just play B3. Okay, plays C3. Plays this line again. We've seen this. Black will try to play for C4. There it is.
We haven't seen too much.
Oh, wasn't knight takes C4 an option there? It was queen A4 check. So they both missed that, I think. C4 was a move too quick.
Yeah. He had knight C4 with queen A4. Bishop on D3 didn't have to move. I think Esipenko just has to go for it. He's down 4 games, and the match prediction is actually that both he and Alexey win 4 games for the remainder. That it was predicted, I think, 16 and a half, 12 and a half. But I don't know. Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe. But
so what's going on here? Is Black's going to
D4, G3? Then Queen H6?
Uh-oh, Queen H6.
Queen H6? Wait, why is Queen H6 not just winning?
It's crushing. Totally crushing.
What a nice move in Queen H1, and you just can't defend it.
Can I go Queen D1? Because if Queen H1, King E2, Bishop F3 is your king somewhere, and your queen's under attack too.
Then I think I have Queen H5, and your queen is trapped. Oh, but you have G4? No, G4, Queen G4. Queen H5, Queen H5.
But this is good too. Pawn takes E3, Queen G2 check, King E3. King E3. I have Knight G4 or something like that.
Knight D5 maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
Knight D5, Knight G4. What a position. Yeah. Are we ready to call it? 5-game lead, 16 minutes? I don't know.
It's looking pretty rough.
Queen H6 is, he just decides to resign.
So it's 5 games in 16 minutes. Okay, so there still is time, but you need to win. You have to start winning and just don't stop winning right now.
Yeah, I don't think it's really a stop the fight. I think this is more like judges will give a unanimous decision. This was a very, very nice fight from Esipenko. He did start impressively. Do you think it is an inappropriate question after a loss to ask a player what they think was the reason that they started making some mistakes? I don't know.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, that question just gives them the space to say, well, I wasn't feeling comfortable in this kind of position, or I just played badly, if that's how they feel they played. It's hard to read. Like, he's still sitting back in his chair again.
Yeah. I'm going to ask him about his tranquility. I'm writing that question.
I mean, I honestly think he's frozen.
It looks like his camera is lagging. Yeah,
I can't even see him moving. He's just so still. But okay, with the black pieces right now, I like his position because white has these ugly queenside pawns, C3 and A2, and doesn't have the benefit that you usually get for it. I didn't like F5. That felt overly risky, but when you're down by 5 games and you need to start winning and winning at all costs, you might as well play for F5. But the end game still should be Queen D6 here. Keep trying to trade the queens off the board. Get into an end game where only black can win with control of the open file. So, okay, Sarana is taking his time here. He might play Queen H4. Oh.
Now the queen trade is a bit surprising because now even if he is potentially going to win this game, it will take forever, right? And it makes a lot of sense for Sarana to just play and play and play
and play
and play and not trade pieces and play. And obviously, I feel as though white with the passing pawn can maybe cause some problems, but black is a very active rook. And look, we've got 14 and a half minutes right now. It wouldn't be surprised me if at the end of this game it was like 12 and change. So that's what the match is now. Unless white checkmates himself, which would be really impressive, but it doesn't look like it's possible.
No, he should just he should go rook B2 or rook B1 at some point, play for B5. Right? You can't just sit forever. Whoa, King H5. Now the king is useful.
Yeah, now the king is actually going to be an asset as it goes down and potentially picks up H6.
Okay, King G3. He froze the king for at least for a second there.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's rook F1. We can see a draw.
I guess so. It's the only way to defend the pawn. No. Esipenko's trying to push.
C4. Now go for it. Rook A1 next. He got it.
Oh yeah, yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. Rook A1.
And just b5, b4. Just rush those pawns.
Yeah, because King H6 there's that's tricky, but it doesn't work because Rook G7, King F8. Oh, King. No, you cannot go to G6. Rook A6.
But
Ooh, Andrey.
Uh-oh. Wait, what's happening here? I'm so confused. King E8. Run the king away.
With the rook on E3, this is always fine for black, isn't it?
King F6, King D8. You're right. You escape by a tempo.
Yeah, rook E3, and you could just take. Jeez.
King D7. Okay, he's.
Wait, but this is
that's a nice check to throw in there. Take on E7 to king. I think King E7. Then you go rook B6, or rook B6 first.
Or just rook B6. Yeah.
Cuts the king off from the 6th rank, which is after check, King E8, and let's go B2, and then take on E7, you win. Wow. That is nerves of steel.
Yeah, that is nerves of steel. He does get the win, but like I said, I mean, 2.5 minutes are going to come off the game clock. Like, that is a lot of time. It took him a long time to get that win. And
rook C6 check.
That's a nice one. That's so nice.
I don't even want to give you my rook.
That's very, very, very nice. It shows that he still has plenty of fighting spirit. He wins that rook endgame, which probably was a draw, but the players continued to play. Really, Andrey continued to play and just got the win. We do have a stat update. In Speed Chess Championship history, the winner of the first game in the bullet has won 20 out of 35 of the bullet segments.
Wow.
So that's not an enormous amount, but what is it, close to 40% or slightly over that?
Wait, 20 out of 35, you said?
Yeah, sorry. That's much higher than 40%. I don't know what I was doing mentally. Just forget that I said that.
Like 57%. It was like 47.
Yeah. You know what I did, Robert? I did 100% minus the number that I calculated, and so I got 40% in my head. So I just blurted out 40%.
Got it. Wait,
the other way around, and there you go.
Blunder on C2.
Yep, but knight D4, knight E6, and maybe he can.
He can wiggle.
Yeah, but this is not what you need when you're trying to win games of chess. So
no.
There we go. Yep, that was a quick maths, but it was a quick maths gone wrong.
Smarter Chess goes, oh, Levy.
Well, he's got smarter, but unfortunately only the chess parts, came with my abilities. And black just up, yeah. So Sarana just very quickly reasserts the dominance in the match. Well, he hasn't won the game yet, but he's up 2 pawns. So
we should remind everybody who these players are, because the match is kind of heading towards the finish line. We'll start with the person in the lead, Alexey Sarana. He's the black pieces in this game. It's Mishanik. And Sarana is rated, I believe, 2641. He's the 7th seed in this junior Speed Chess Championship. And he is the #1 player for the Australia Kangaroos in the Pro Chess League. And right now, he's just doing work with the black pieces with the white pieces in this one, Andrey Esipenko. And Andrey is 2 years younger than Alexey. He is another Russian superstar, youngster player. He's currently playing in Poyakovsky and rated growing past 2620 with his current status in the Karpov-Poyakovsky tournament. He likes soccer outside of chess. That's pretty cool.
I like soccer. Am I cool too? I'm a pretty big fan. I think I like basketball a little bit more. One thing to note, everybody, Andrey Esipenko is actually playing, like we just said, he's playing in the Karpov-Poyakovsky tournament. And it's not even that he's just playing in it, hypothetically. He ran home after a very long classical game today with the black pieces against Vladislav Kovalyov, who is a Belarusian grandmaster. Andrey won that game, sat down in front of his computer, got into a call with us, and is now playing some top-level chess against Sarana. And, okay, it looks as though he is not going to win this one. He's not going to be dually successful today, but very, very inspiring from him as he hopefully can recover some energy for the rest of the tournament. So, yeah, he's currently 26-11, 2 years the junior, but who knows? Do you think he can pick up 30 points in 2 years? I think so. I think he's for big things.
He's already in the process of doing so, and he's going to be a force in this Junior Speed Chess Championship for years to come. He got 2nd place in the Weikenze Tata Steel Challenger section. So that's where I first was able to meet him and was commentating his games there live. Great player, seems like extremely nice person. And well, unfortunately, after such a long day of chess, this match doesn't appear to be going his way. But all credit is due to Alexey Sarana, who has played an excellent match after getting down in the 5-minute section.
Yeah, there's a stat up on the screen for everybody, which I intend to ask the players about. Record for least amount of draws in a match is 2. And I don't think that in the next 8 minutes or so, we will see another one that would be not very bullet-like. So I intend to ask the players, whose fault is it that so many decisive results happened? Or is it just a byproduct of both of their personalities? So, what?
Well, why did he resign? He had 50 seconds left, right? That's not having situational awareness. And of course, it's out of respect for his opponent, but now it's a 4-game difference. And you could have wasted at least another minute on the clock. He had 50 seconds on his clock, and he could have made at least another 20 moves, just random shuffling. So that would have been 1 minute and 10 seconds on his own clock to waste from the match situation. So, nice show of respect to resign that game. I think going forward, if if Esipenko wins a couple more, you will see Sarana just start losing on time, just wasting every single last second.
Yeah, I think it just makes sense. You can just play till checkmate. I also just want to point out for everybody, we've got 7 minutes remaining in the match, but wins count. You get win share for the extra prize money. There's $800 in every single one of these round of 16 matchups. And if you win, 40% of the games, then you get 40% of that prize fund. The winner gets the 400, and then the remaining is split among the win shares. So if it's very close, you still get paid. So these games aren't worth nothing. You might be playing for 20, 30 bucks at a time, which people play for recreationally at random open tournaments. But this is I think a little bit better because it's guaranteed. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's the best is this white attack that's about to pick up steam here with Queen H5 and just go full on out for this attack. G4 can be played because the F pawn is pinned. Also, you want that bishop to open up. He just goes knight F3 first. Makes sense to me. Hitting G5. Oof. Now knight H4.
Knight H4 seems very natural. And considering just going like the other way, yeah, D2, B3 or C4.
He wanted to keep the queens on the board. Knight H4, Queen F7. The queens would have come up by force. That's why he did it this way.
Bishop C4 is an interesting one. So he wants to plant his knight on the queen side and control D3. Knight C4, D3. Yeah, well, I was concerned that if white gets a rook on D3, it's just over. I thought maybe black had to break somehow. That's creative, but what if you wait? What? Why didn't you just take and play knight D6?
Yep, that would have been good, but he said, I'm going to ignore it, play rook to B1, play for B6, play for A5, all these maneuvers. And H4, you can't play. I just take on H4, you take with the rook, then you lose A6. So king D3 here. Got rook B3. All these moves are just going to be good. B6 now, or take on A6, doesn't matter. So comeback time. Nice move, rook H1. The rook on H6 has to go take on A6 at the right moment, but yeah, then you lose H5. So how much time is left? 4? Yeah, you have to win instantly just to have a chance, but there's not enough time left.
Yeah, rook H5, you just pick up F5 and just not enough pawns for black, but not enough time for white to really make an impact. He might win 1 or 2 more games, but I think with 4.5 minutes remaining, it's just out of reach.
It is. And losing on time in that drawn position might really come back to hurt him. So
honestly, yeah. There's been some big moments in the match. That last, probably one of the first 3-1 games that got away, and then after that, it opened the doors for Alexey.
Yep. And
I feel like this match flew by. Maybe that's the feeling you get when all these matches go, but.
Yeah, because there's so much fun, and like every game is unique, and each one has a different story. Some games they're playing extremely well. Other games, pieces are flying everywhere and blundering. But it's been a very, very fun match, and Yeah, I kind of wish it would last 20 more minutes because it feels like Esipenko is making a comeback, but it's just too little too late. And it would have been cool. And I'm not rooting for him, but it would be cool to see kind of this continue to happen if Sarana would tilt like Esipenko did in the 3-minute. But yeah, right now Esipenko is he's coming back. Just too little.
Just 3 minutes left. It's just not enough. But it's a shame.
But it is good. We are going to, well, if no more draws happen, we're going to break the record of fewest draws in a match.
Yes, that is really, really exciting. I think the players can be commended for that.
Ooh, bishop a6.
Uh-oh.
Nice.
Whoa. That's no good.
It's already game over.
Now this is the game. This is the game you play on and on and on.
Yep.
Now, if you lose really quickly, you really open the door for Andrey to get another game in there. So,
yeah, he's going to play this one out for its entirety because there's over 2 minutes left. He'll take at least 1 minute off this game. He'll take another minute off the next game, and so there's just not enough time remaining, despite the easily winning position that Andrey has right now. Just not enough time.
But still, he's keeping his time up as long as he can continue to keep the game going, which is a very nice skill to Queen D1. He missed Queen D1. He just made on the board.
Oh my gosh! Just missed a simple mate. Queen D1 in the trade.
Wait, Queen D1 would have been it. Honestly, then Alexey would have had to decide if he wants to sit there and do nothing.
Yeah.
Look at it. Look at Alexey smiling. Wow.
Oof.
Oh man.
Also, if I'm white, I'm thinking of Queen takes G6 check.
Yes, Queen G6. Oh wait, he has it.
No, but you lose a knight at the end, right?
So you do. Dang, I was really excited. I just.
But it's it's such a nice looking tactic.
Sorry. There's tactics even. With...
Knight E6, Queen C7, take the rook on D8. Uh-oh. There it is.
Wow, Sarana strikes back.
Is that the next Star Wars movie?
Yes, I was just about to make a reference to that. Will this be the last bullet game? I think, or because there's about a minute and some seconds remaining.
Oh, so. He's holding. Esipenko's holding his head. He's just fed up. He's just like, can't do this anymore. He's just tired. Queen F6 check, get him to the end game, win that, or play Knight D1 and be safe. But Queen F6 check looks good.
I feel like everybody's saying he's a kid. He is 17, y'all. Like he almost grown, But yeah, that's so interesting how Danny points out. You're looking at Russia's future there on the couch.
Yeah. Well, also from this angle, he's so far away, he looks younger because he's just like, he's very distant, he looks small.
Yeah.
So is this match over, like in terms of the time? Obviously, it's an insurmountable lead for Sarana, but I guess we just have a couple seconds left.
Yeah, it looks like this will be the last game, everybody, of not just the bullet, but also the match. Don't go anywhere. When the result is official, we will be back with a special guest and also player interviews. So stay with us, please, as we conclude the third matchup of the round of 16 Junior Speed Chess Championship.
Wait, is white worse somehow now after all that?
I know, right?
What just happened? Take a G3. Give me that. Take on H4. Oh, 94 check. They both missed it. Okay. Knight tactics are always tricky. 94 check. Fork the king on C5 and the bishop on G3. Yeah. Okay. So if you take on B7, take on A4. At some point, probably has to go for the H-pawn. There it is. But also, bishop and H-pawn do not win. So all white needs to do is sacrifice the knight for the G-pawn. It's a draw. Wrong corner. Wrong color promotion square. Wrong color bishop.
That's so knight f2. Yeah. Wow. Wait, we're gonna end peacefully?
No, they're gonna not break the record for fewest draws.
Yes. All right. And with that, the result is official. It's 15-12. Alexey Sarana, the winner. Don't go anywhere. We still have a special guest joining us and player interviews coming right up. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you so much for waiting. We are here with the players. Alexey Sarana, victorious in the match over Andrey Esipenko. And we're also joined by Ruslan Ponomaryov, former FIDE world champion, absolute legend of the sport. He's here to help us translate English to Russian, Russian to English. I also speak Russian, but probably at the level of an 8-year-old. So that's why we have Ruslan. Robert, do you want to ask the first question as the higher rated of the two?
No, I want Ruslan to ask the first question. I mean,
well, actually, I'm not like guys professional interpreter or something. You should call my wife for this. But okay, I made kind of rate from the Russian channel, like that people also can say can listen, enjoy a little bit show.
You're good at interpreting chess, and you can speak Russian, so you got everything under control, Ruslan. We trust you.
Well, first of all, like congratulations for both of players, of course, like congratulations to winner, to Alexey Sarana, but it was like really like fighting match. I think it almost like broke record with draws, and then it was 2 draws. They repeated some other match.
So Ruslan, I was one of the questions specifically to that I was hoping to translate for the players was the last game that they played was a draw, and that meant they only had 2 draws for the whole match. It was almost the match with the least draws in Speed Chess Championship history. So my question was, whose fault is that? Whose fault is it that there was only wins and losses? Is it just both of their playing styles to play like this? Is it just the product of this, or did they think that there were some mistakes made? Like that. I guess we can start with Alexey answering.
Почему такой был боевой матч вообще? Вопрос. Почему ничьи только 2? А что произошло? Вы так друг друга типа ненавидите или что?
Мне кажется, что так получилось, потому что мы играли не лучшим образом, а когда играешь плохо, там зевков очень много. Вот очень много зевков, и из-за этого получилось так. И такие вроде бы казалось совсем ничейные позиции умудрялись проигрывать там ладейники 3-3. Я не знаю.
Мне казалось, что было некоторые моменты, например, можно пойти на какие-то спокойную игру, симметрию, там, а нет там типа слон F3, G, там ослабить короля и там мотовать идти. Тоже складывалось такой боевой. Или какая-то концовки там по 10 секунд. Нет, я его перехитрил, казалось. Я буду дальше до победы играть.
Да, вот мне больше всего понравился слоновый, как я его выиграл, вспоминаю до сих пор.
Я не знаю, конечно, как вы там переживаете потом после поражения. В какой-то момент была, по-моему, еще серия, по-моему, 3+1. Алексей выиграл чуть ли не там 3 или 4 подряд. Я думал, все уже. Андрей там как дальше? Килт начнется. Но тем не менее вот там собрался и я думаю, это такое отличие. Не знаю.
So just quickly translating for the viewers, because they're teasing us that we're speaking a lot of Russian.
Guys, the both players are kind of tired and modest. Like Alexei said, it's briefly, it's because of mistakes like they made. That's why it was like not so many draws. But
yeah, Alexei was joking that they were winning symmetrical endgames, 3-on-3 pawns. He was winning the bishop endgame, so it was not maybe the cleanest match, but in terms of wins and losses, but still fun and exciting for viewers. So yeah.
Yeah, I have a question for Andrey, because he was out to a lead after the 5-minute section, and then all of a sudden Alexei won 5 games in a row. So Andrey, how do you think that your game today in Poikovsky impacted your match? Were you especially tired, considering you played a classical game of chess today?
Ну, наверное, опять же, это вопрос, как 5 подряд, Роберт говорит, проиграл вроде последний. Я не помню, мне казалось 4, но как, все равно без разницы. Это, как, наверное, как-то было связано с тем, что Пайковском сегодня играл партию, хоть и выиграл у Ковалева, но усталость, не знаю, после партии. Успел ли хоть или, не знаю, прийти в гостиницу? Как вообще, что происходило после партии? Как это сказалось?
Ну, я понял. Угу. Ну, я еще партию такую выиграл, которую в какой-то момент уже упустил. Думал, уже ничья будет. Если бы я еще в ничью сыграл, это, наверное, вообще тут рассыпался бы. Хорошо, хоть я выиграл. Вот. Пришел, сначала быстро пришел в номер, думал, что в 7 по московскому времени будет матч. Но потом увидел письмо, то, что матч перенесли. Вот. Решил сходить на ужин, как-то успел, побежал. Вот. Успел на ужин сходить. Вот. Но сейчас после матча и партий голова кипит что-то как никогда вообще.
Сколько сейчас времени в Пайковском вообще?
В Пайковском на 2 часа больше, чем в Москве. По московскому сейчас времени 11. Ну, сейчас час по... Вот. Да.
So, basically, yeah, today Andrey had very tough game. Well, in the end, I saw that he had advantage, but he said like at least he was happy that he won this game. But he came to the rooms and saw like email, and at least he saw that 1 hour delay, so he went to eat something like dinner. But yeah, definitely it's affected a lot. And now it's, for example, 1 o'clock. It's a night in Paikovsky in Siberia. So I guess at least tomorrow it's a free day in Paikovsky, and he can at least play to show good performance in Paikovsky. And yeah, about the match, in some moment he was at least happy that one game, I don't remember exactly particularly, after losing so many games, that he thought that even if he will not like, if he will lose this one, that maybe I don't know how he will play, but he managed to win like with some mistakes.
I have a question for actually also for Andrey. We were having, we were very interested how he was so calm, and we were curious if that was strategy, if that's just his strategy for the match, just relax, take your time, or is that just his personality? Because there were moments we thought that his camera wasn't working. He was so still. So I'm just curious.
Вопрос. Были очень удивлены, почему Андрей такой был очень спокойный во время партии, потому что любой бы, как казалось, на твоем месте, там бы, может быть, не знаю бы, может быть, камеру бы там уже разбил или что-то такое бы произошло. Не знаю, как вообще получается сохранять такое спокойствие, несмотря на что такие тяжелые моменты в матче? Это какой-то характер, тренировки, привычки, не знаю.
Ну, я просто как бы к матчу относился, то есть как бы самое главное, я считал, что хорошо сыграть партию в классику, а когда я вернусь, будет матч, и как бы я просто сыграю, постараюсь просто показать хорошую игру, вот. Но ее показать, в принципе, не особо получилось, но я, в принципе, не особо расстроен. Ну, так, слегка. Но не до такой степени, чтобы там что-то ломать.
Ну, понятно. Ну, well, basically, for Andrey, he, of course, like more focused on his like tournament in Paikovsky. It's like classical tournaments, like it's affect, I guess, like more like rating him, etc. But of course, well, he just attitude was just come back and just to play good. Well, he's kind of disappointment, but not like disappointed so much, like start like to break cameras or something. So I guess for him, like more priority was still like the tournament. But okay, I guess he still like showed good games. At least for me, it was really nice to see first part like 5 minutes. Some game actually I remember I was a little bit like maybe in some aspect I saw like Andrey was winning, but he somehow lost this game. I thought it was game 4 or something.
Yeah.
Я помню, где-то, по-моему, 4-я или какая-то партия был счет, по-моему, где-то может быть, сравнялось 2-2, но, по-моему, где-то Андрей тоже был ее выиграть, не знаю, технически, не знаю, что там были какие-то приключения.
Ну да, много таких было.
Ну, по крайней мере, по 5 удалось.
Не, ну по 5 я, в принципе, нормально играл, более-менее, казалось. А когда ускорился контроль, я перестал вообще соображать.
Ну, это чувствовалось, наверное, тоже. Ладно, народ, я не знаю, я вас мучить не хочу сильно вопросами. В любом случае, спасибо. Не знаю, может быть, do you want, I mean, guys, I don't want like to give like so many like questions to the players personally, but if you want to ask more, like,
Yeah, I have another question.
it's like really late.
Yeah,
just one or two more questions.
One more question. This one's for Alexey. I want to know what he will play the winner of the match between Parham Maksudlu and Luca Moroni. So I want to know, if he has experience against these two players and who he would rather face in the next round.
Понятный вопрос. Следующие по сетке как раз Пархам, да, и Лука Морони. Пархам, по-моему, номер 2 примерно в рейтинге Chess.com. Не знаю. Был ли какой-то опыт играть с этими двумя игроками? С кем бы предпочел бы встретиться в следующем раунде вообще?
Ну, и с Пархамом в интернете играл иногда. Статистика, по-моему, отрицательная. То есть следующий матч будет очень тяжелым. И с такой игрой, я думаю, мне мало что светит. Надеюсь, что подойду в более лучшей форме. И Пархам... Но я считаю его одним из фаворитов турнира. Так что с ним поменьше хотелось сыграть. Но думаю, что придется.
Well, basically, yeah, Parham, according to Alexey, is favorite if he will like qualify for the next match. And yeah, Alexey played some games online versus him, but his score was kind of negative. So maybe he prefers like to play Luca Moroni, but he guess it's going to be like Parham, and Parham also like favorite of the tournament. But okay, I also think like Alexey kind of modest person. He just prefer not to say too much, like some boxers, like I will hit you, I will break you, or something. Like he just like calmly, like okay. I mean, like even today, he was like, I was reading an interview. He was saying, I'm like not so good in bulletin. 3 minutes, I'll try 5 minutes, but then like slowly showed some kind of solid chess. Well, I guess anyway, for Alexey, it was nice experience.
Well,
it's
we
like
wanna...
some physical shape. It's always nice to have to play all this long match, like 3 hours.
Yeah, we want to thank Ruslan for joining us and helping with translating and bringing some excitement also to the commentators booth. And спасибо большое игрокам so much. So thank you to the players for the match and the interview and being patient. It's late in Russia, so we'll sign off from the interview, everybody, by mentioning once again the next match coming up in the Junior Speed Chess Championship. That's on the 14th of June at 5 p.m. Pacific time between Jeffrey Zhang and Anton Smirnov. That is the next one that is coming up. So before we do that, let's say goodbye to the players and thank you once again. So thank you from me, Robert.
Thank you to the players. Great match. It was really fun, and get some sleep. I know it's really late there.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
So as I was saying, very exciting match today. Probably one of the closest ones on paper, as well as Jordan Van Forest, and we had Ryan Tari. So the next one coming up, Jeffrey Zhang versus Anton Smirnov. On Thursday, June 14th, I think the call goes to Danny Wrench and Mike Klein in the commentators booth a little bit later than usual. So if you're up in Europe, I think this one is worth going past your bedtime for. At least I would choose to do that. Well, Robert, I'm pretty satisfied. You know, sometimes a match builds up some hype and is slated to be a close one, an exciting one. The prediction might have been one of the closest, if not the closest, that we had. The entire I was thinking. So.
Yeah, no, that was a great match. We saw two worthy competitors. Unfortunately for Andrey Esipenko. It was late for him. He played a long classical game, and, well, he wasn't able to fight off Alexey Sarana, but Alexey played a great match and deserves all the credit for the win. And so with that, I think we're going to raid GM Hikaru, the favorite in the Speed Chess Championship, when we eventually get into that. But just a reminder, next match again is on, what day of the week is that? When's the 14th? Is that Friday? Yes, Friday the 14th, the match between Zhang and Smirnov. So Levy, it's been my pleasure.
Yeah, we've just gotten a note from our producer before we, talking in air. You guys don't hear this, but we've got little voices in our heads, and they're actually from real people, at least so we hope. Coming up later tonight, at 6 p.m., it's going to be the very, very much anticipated Danny Wrench Fortnite stream. So if you've got no plans, now you have plans. If you did have plans, you have new plans. That's what you got to tell whoever's hanging out with you later today. Danny Wrench is going to be playing Fortnite, and if you weren't excited, now there you go. As we're looking in the studio, hey, I'm pumped. We got the t-shirt, gun, and everything. So,
is that a pink Xbox controller?
It might be. Yes, it might be. I think it is. All right, signing off, y'all. We're going to be sending you over to Grandmaster Hikaru Nakamura. And ta-ta for now. Hang out with Danny in the later evening in the next Junior Speed Chess Championship match on June 14th, 5 p.m. Pacific. We'll see you then.